right. What is going on? It's time to do some fly tying. Just took me a second to get set up here. You should be good to go. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, we got the new Fly Fishing for Striped Bass series. Episode 1 is out. What do I use? I use a free program called DaVinci Resolve from Blackmagic Camera. They make really high quality like movie cameras. And they have a free software you can use. They also have a paid version, but I used to use Premiere Pro by Adobe, which was so expensive and would constantly crash on me. So, I mean, if you're like a professional video editor, by the way, the Poland Spring, my favorite seltzer. If you're a professional video editor, you can use Premiere Pro, but I use DaVinci Resolve, like Leonardo da Vinci, not DiCaprio. All right. Whew. Okay. Some of that bubbly. Let me get the camera comfortable because I don't want this thing. I'm not filming a fly tying tutorial. I also... that should stay in focus, I think, for the most part. So, I'm tying tail sections for a customer. Kinky Muddlers. I watched the Johnny King's video so I could get it down exact, essentially, to how he ties them. And these, we are using the EP for this, but I have so many flies I gotta tie. I'm just gonna show you this real quick. So I took all the feathers and got them laid out ahead of time. Chinese saddle hackle. Got a ton of white because I have so many white 4-aughts to tie. This is just a start for one person. I have a ton that I'm tying for the owner of Rise Fishing Company, which is a fly rod company, and he takes people down. So I have a lot. We have a lot to tie, but this is just the beginning, but I need to get ahead of it. So we're going to start doing this. I tied a bunch of peacock flies and roosterfish flies recently for my buddy Jeff. This is essentially what the end product's going to look like of these flies that we're tying tonight, but we're tying the tail sections first on the 2-aughts and 4-aughts, and then we'll do the EP heads. I'm going to be doing Slinky fiber and Steve Farrar fiber on the large order for the company for Rise, but and then another person going orders them. So it's roosterfish season apparently, and I have a month or two to tie a couple hundred minimum, like probably like 300 and something roosterfish flies. So we're gonna be busy. Yeah, you got that, Jen? It's called DaVinci Resolve. Okay. Oh, dude, I should have got bucktail. Well, I guess we're just doing tail sections anyway, but... Okay. So, Johnny King's Muddler, I watched the video recently to make sure I got it down pat. We are using EP Muddler for this. EP Minnow material, EP fiber. So this one's slightly different than his SF blend, but I gave this to the person who ordered these and had him fish these flies. So they track properly and everything. He caught some stripers on them. So we know that they fish good. The main thing is when you're fishing for rooster fish, you have to strip the flies very fast so they have to track properly. And you want them to sink, apparently. You don't want them to float. So this is a heavy enough hook and a light enough amount of EP fiber. It sinks pretty well. But you don't want it to be higher up in the column, apparently, right on the surface, because needlefish will grab it or something. I don't know. These guys have been talking my ear off. Hopefully, Baja or Santio, or God, I forgot his name. Hopefully he tunes in at some point. He's our resident roosterfish guy, apparently. Baja Anglers or whatever. But hey, Southern Fly Guy, appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. I'm still getting used to it. I actually had my friend who doesn't fly fish. I had him watch the video, Rev, who's been our first YouTube member, my buddy I play Warhammer with. And just to get a little feedback on I think I could work on my cadence and my delivery when it comes to the videos. But yeah, it was my first like presentation, I guess you could say, or topic, like a topical video as opposed to just a fly tying video. So yeah, we'll see. I'm open to feedback if you guys have any. Where on the island do I fish? How's it going fishing? And what is it, restoring? I fish on the east end of Long Island, on the South Shore. So South Shore beaches, and I live out east. I don't like to get too in specific, obviously. I'm not trying to dox myself, but yeah, out east on the South Shore. So we're going to start right around the hook point. We have a pinch of bucktail, and I'm going to tie this 360 degrees around the hook shank. So I'm going to do 2 wraps and just kind of spread it around, as opposed to traditionally just tying it on top. And again, I'm following Johnny King's Kinky Muddler. I saw there's a couple different videos of him giving presentations on it. Probably could get that a little neater, but that's okay. I'm using mono for the thread. These are Gamakatsu SL12S big game hooks. And then I'm just going to go with a little bit more on top. Excuse me. Why, are you on the island? Where do you fish? North Shore, South Shore? You out west, you out east? I'm just going to tie that down. This is like our bucktail tied 360 degrees around the hook shank, as opposed to just on top. And we'll be doing some interesting stuff here, but then we're going to be taking saddle hackle. I'm tying these right about 5.5 inches to 6 inches, which is right around there. Let's just double check. I'm just using my other ones for reference. Yeah, that's 6 inches with a 4-rod. Hoping to catch my first striper or bluefish on the fly. Never caught anything on the fish in the salt yet. Oh, dude, you'll get them. So what you got to do is you got to focus drop-offs, edges, and rips. And you need to try different times, but generally moving water and just fish within your basic intermediate line and a clouser or deceiver. Mix up your retrieves and just go at different times, and you'll find them. If you can catch them with a spinning rod, you know what I mean, you can catch them. I'm on the island. I fish the North Shore, or at least I try to fish it. Yeah, I'm a South Shore guy. I think it's a lot easier. Focus on the bays, the back bays. Focus on places, I don't know how good you are at casting. Focus on areas that you can actually cast far enough. So, like, if you can only cast 40 feet, find creeks, channels, outflows where there's drop-offs close by, and you can cast that fly and retrieve it back into the shallows and things like that. I know on the North Shore, you have a ton of creeks and back bays and estuaries and things like that with tons of grass, silver sides, shrimp. Find those areas, find the incoming tides at like peak high tides, or on the outgoing tides when it flushes out and all the bait fish flush out. And probably like sunset, obviously, or sunrise, or at nighttime in the spring or summertime, and you should be doing great. And there's probably cinderworm hatches too. You should be looking on full moons at nighttime. But what we actually have a new video, fly fishing for striped bass. And, first one's choosing the right fly, the philosophy behind it. Next one will be a deeper look into choosing the right fly for different times of year in different areas. But I'm going to have more videos on how to fish creeks, back bays, how to fish inlets, things like that. So you can always feel free to join our Discord if you have a Discord as well. If you have Discord, because we have a ton of people that fly fish in there, and you can ask a ton of questions. But I like swinging the flies during outgoing. Yeah, Jin's up in Mass, and he's very good at fly fishing for stripers. So it's a very similar sort of fishing to what we do. I would say North Shore is similar to like certain areas of Rhode Island and stuff like that, right? You're fishing the Sound or Connecticut. Yeah, let them dangle and then retrieve with pauses. They'll hit on the pause, yeah. So you don't want to just strip all the time. Not necessarily, that's not the worst thing. I like going fast, then slow, and then slow with a 5-second pause, and then slow with no pauses, and then fast with 5 pause, and then I do 2 strips, a pause, I strip once, and then I'll strip 3. I mix it up. You constantly have to mix it up to try and figure out what the fish want and how they want it, where in the water column. So again, we're going to be covering a lot of this stuff. But you got to start thinking about, number one thing, you got to get your fly in front of the fish. That's the number one thing. If you can get, this is from my recent video, presentation's the most important thing when picking a fly or just fly fishing for striped bass. You need to get that fly in front of the fish, and you need to ensure that it's in the strike zone, right? The more times that it's going to be in front of the fish, the more times that you're going to have a chance of it eating it. So, like, trying to find places that you can fish effectively with a fly rod at your capabilities as a fly angler with casting and all that is really important. And again, I'm assuming you're somewhat new, so I'm assuming you can't, like, bomb a line 100 foot out there in the wind, right? Trying to fish spots on conventional surf casting gear, even then I've never caught anything. Really? Interesting. North Shore, from what I see, especially summertime, I mean, the fall time's different. You should be able to find fish blitzing all up and down the North Shore beaches. If not, come out east, fish orient during the fall, and I mean, there's days where you could catch 100 striped bass on the fly. You know what I mean? Oh, thank you, Red Chief. Yeah, I appreciate that. When was that? Was that the other day or something? I'm sorry if I didn't see that. Let me take a look. I'm sorry if I missed that, but thank you, Red Chief. I appreciate that, my friend. Yeah, what do you call it? With the nighttime fishing, you should on the North Shore, you should be fishing around like boulders and stuff like that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I fished the South Shore, and it's a completely different game. But I think if you focus in the back bays and less on the sound itself, and you can increase your odds in places where you can put the fly more reliably. Because I don't know if you're fishing the open beaches on the North Shore and fishing the sound. That's like a whole nother thing, You're going to be fishing boulders. You're going to be walking miles up and down the beach looking for fish, looking for rips, Pop-up ads? I'm not certain, to be honest with you. I have it set on conservative. I think it usually just plays a video ad and you could skip it, but I don't know, Jen. Because I don't get pop-up ads in YouTube. I'm not certain. Oh, I forget. We're supposed to be using, like Johnny Kane says, we're tying these in tented, by the way. And I'm not supposed to be putting a lot of pressure on here, so I'm supposed to be tying these pretty light. It's kind of like, I got to get this hackle sitting right. You know what? If the feather doesn't want to cooperate, we're just going to put it off to the side, because I'm not messing with it. We're trying to do some commercial tying tonight, so I need to be, I need to be productive. Why is this hackle not cooperating? I'm going to strip it. But, yeah, it's tough. If you're not catching fish in an area at a certain tide, try a different time. If you're not catching fish, then try a whole different area. Like, you're going to have to search around, and you should find some fish with a basic spinning rod set up, surf rod, It shouldn't be an issue to catch, like, a striped bass or something. Is there more than one chat? Yeah, Red Chief. There's I'm streaming on YouTube and Twitch right now. I think legally, or not legally, but due to Twitch TOS, I'm not allowed to show YouTube chat on the screen. I see tons of other streamers doing it. So like the rest of Twitch, nobody cares and just breaks all the rules anyway. But someone like me, I might actually get banned. I'm not certain. So from what I could see, you're not supposed to have it, but some of my favorite streamers have YouTube chat up as well. Yeah, there is ads on the YouTube stream. I put them on conservatively, but it should be a skippable ad if I'm not wrong. So like Twitch auto runs an ad at the start, and I don't run ads on my Twitch stream, but YouTube will run ads on my Twitch stream, so. Or on my YouTube stream, I'm sorry. Yeah, they punish the little guys, exactly. I know guys that have been banned on Twitch because while they were fishing, one of their friends bent over and a buck crack was shown. Meanwhile, there's like people on Twitch, like, you know, I don't even want to say what they're showing. But if you don't make enough money, they'll ban you real quick. So I just try not to mess with it. All right. After tenting this, and now we can pinch it, tie it down before the feather breaks my thread. But so this is a little trick I didn't do previously that I'm doing now that Johnny Keynes does, which I'll show you once I fix my thread here. Yeah, you know, I don't have YouTube Premium, and I don't necessarily mind, like, 1 or 2 skippable ads at the start of a video or, like, halfway, you know, at points in a 30-minute long video. I will say the reason why I don't run any ads on Twitch, I wouldn't mind running a couple here and there, you know, a couple pennies, but it's so brutal on Twitch. They're unskippable ads, and they'll run, like, 5 of them in a row for, like, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I mean, I've almost stopped watching Twitch entirely because if I'm not subscribed to a channel and they run ads during the stream, it's not even like worth watching it. Sometimes it's just ads. I feel like I'm watching like 90% of the time. At least with YouTube, you could just skip it really easily. And if you have YouTube Premium, then you're good. They have Twitch Turbo as well, but like, I mean, it's like a lot of the bigger streamers, they run so many ads. It's like somebody like Pastilli or somebody playing Tarkov. I used to watch them, but it was just like, I feel like I'm just watching ads the entire time. Yeah, I will say YouTube Premium's looking better and better nowadays. I try not to really have any subscriptions. I have like 1 Twitch sub and a, what do you call it? I pay for Epidemic Sound for my streaming and YouTube videos. That's about it, but all right. So I don't know if you saw what I was doing here because I was chit-chatting, complaining about Twitch ads, but what I'm doing is I'm actually pinching this hackle like this and wrapping underneath and coming around. And what that's doing is that's going to support the hackle, and it's going to create this like arch to it. So A, it's not going to foul as easily, and B, we're creating a pocket underneath here. So as when the water hits the tail and the tail is tented, meaning the hackles, let me zoom out a little, it's a little too intense. The tail is tented like this, as opposed to being flat or flat wing like this, right? Or deceiver style like this. The tail is like this. So it's tied at a 45-degree angle, the feathers. So we've created like a canopy of feathers. And the water hits underneath this pocket now, and it just flutters in the water. And that's the whole idea behind it. Previously, I wasn't doing that because I'm going to be honest with you, like, I mean, even without that, this thing, I didn't do that with this, and this thing is fantastic. But I could see the logic behind this. I've never gone as extreme behind as wrapping the thread behind my tail section, right? But what I've done is we've tied hackle for giant trevally for the GT slammers for saltwaterflies.com. We tie the stiff ends of the hackle, kind of like I'm doing now here at the base. And then what also happens is the... sorry, the camera move threw me off. We tie it at an angle. So we tied it pretty much, you know, there was some curve to the feather, so I'd say it was kind of like this, but we kind of tied it flat, right? And now that we've wrapped the thread behind it, we have a nice arc. What we do with the giant trevally flies for saltwaterflies.com is I'll tie it on like this, but I'll tie the feather at an angle, like this almost. And it'll naturally kind of be like this. So you have this stiff hackle that's kind of pointing up to prevent it from fouling. That's kind of the idea, right? But yeah, to double back on that fishing and restoring, you know, try and find places that you can put your fly in the strike zone more often. And I'd fish really around sunset, night, sunrise, and I'd fish moving tides. And like Jin said, you know, maybe clousers, deceivers, flatwings, bucktail deceivers, and throw a lot of strips in there and pauses. New vise looks sweet. Yeah, shout out to Don at Regal, man, hooking me up with a brand new powder coated big game head and a nice purple handle to go with it, powder coated, because this is brass as well. My old one had plastic on it. This is just brass. I kind of like this more. This is the other one that has like a rubber or like a nipple on it, you know. This is just straight up powder coated. So I got the extra pimp treatment. You know what I mean? All right, I got to start tying some more flies. So this is the tail section. For this particular fly, what Johnny Kings does is now he wraps marabou in the video. The guy sent me a video. He's like, I want the flies like this. I'm like, okay. The way I did this for my EP version, which is how I'm tying it for this person, I do bucktail. So we're going to do a bucktail collar in front of this. This is not only going to give us the transitional taper between the Lawner EP fiber V-Tide, it's also going to shorten our gap because we don't want the heads to be too long. Johnny Kings was doing his head like essentially 1/4 of an inch, something like this. It's just where he's V-tying right here. But we're also going to just kind of help build out the profile. I can't help it. I'm a striper fisherman, so I kind of have to incorporate like Popovic's stuff, you know, and, you know, just have like a bucktail collar after a nice tented hackle. I just can't help it. It's too good not to. Luckily, this person, while still, you know, wanting the fly to be tied to a certain spec, also we're going to put some super glue here because we want these flies to be durable. This person's a little bit more trusting and letting me just kind of do what I want because they know I can tie good flies. Not that the other person doesn't either, but they're much more like, you know, it depends. Some people are very specific with their flies and certain fly fishing stuff, and some people are like, you know what, just as long as it looks good in the water and it's this color, it's not too flashy, you're good. Oh, we're supposed to be tying this on the bottom too. So I'm just going to move up a little bit so we can create a taper. Yeah, it's interesting. And I'll tie flies however anybody wants. That's kind of what I'm here for. But, you know, some people just are specific and some people are like, yeah, whatever. What color? Who cares? Yes. They're, and what do you call it? If you need a vise, I cannot recommend Regal enough. Luckily, I think we've sold a handful of Regals over the years to various people who have watched the stream, so. Not that I have, like, really, I don't even have any official affiliation with them. It's just that the owner has been so nice to me and has just built me this vise and built me new heads whenever I need them. So, I really have, you know, I don't have any, like, official reason to shout them out. I just recommend them because I use them for a living, right? So, but, yeah, I can't say it enough how well Regal has treated me, so. And they have great customer service from everyone else that I've talked to, you know? So, I don't think you can go wrong if you... All right, I got to loosen this. We're getting a lot of exclamation mark tinks today. You do you, and I like it. I want to spin around the hook and only whip finish once. Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right. I thought I could bob and suck it, but I can't, so I'm going to have to just run it through. Uno momento, por favor. How you doing, Craggerroll? What's up? What you been up to? I'm down to 3 Twitch subs. Usually get gift subs. Yeah, exactly. If you watch a channel enough and it's a larger channel, you'll get gift subs and stuff like that. Really, I just like use my Prime, and I watch Djibouti Show. I watch some other channels, of course. And I'll tune in every once in a while with some of the IRL fishing guys. But, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm so busy nowadays I make 4 YouTube videos a week. So, like, for instance, yesterday I spent the entire day, the entirety. I went out at some point, And I got some material and dropped off some flies and did this and that, yada, yada, yada. But I pretty much spent the entire day filming. I recorded over 100 gigabytes in 4K because I record in 4K, so, you know, it ends up really being a lot of gigabytes. But I recorded a look inside a commercial fly tires fly box because recently I got my fly box organized. Joe F., who watches on YouTube, he's like, hey, you're not a revolutionary idea, but I'd love to see what sort of flies you have in your fly box. I was like, great idea. Ended up being like a 20-something minute long video. I think it came out pretty good, actually. It was just all off the cuff. And then I recorded a video on how to tie your own DIY saltwater fly fishing leader, because you should never be buying tapered leaders for striped bass. I'm going to tell you that right now. I haven't done that in over, I don't know, since the late 90s, and I was like 8 years old, and I didn't know knots, you know. It's so easy. You just take 30-pound and 20-pound, and you could fish with that 90% of the time, right? So I did a video on that, and then I recorded 3 fly tying videos. I recorded a next week's giveaway video, which is a bucktail deceiver peanut bunker. I'll show you these guys, because you guys tune in. You get the extra trade secrets here. This is next week's giveaway video, which is a peanut bunker bucktail deceiver fly. And 110 denier? No, this is the Danville mono, fine mono. And somebody sent me a photo of a peanut bunker fly. They're like, hey, can you tie something like this? I'm like, sure. And it has a bunch of ostrich curl blended in with the bucktail. I hand blended all the bucktail. So this will be next week's giveaway fly, because we do the last video of the month. We give away the fly. Which, if Jaron ends up watching this, I know he responded, he saw, but on YouTube, Jaron, he needs to get back to me with a shipping address. Then recorded the Whistler, Dan Blanton's Whistler, which this is just such a cool fly developed for the Delta region in California. So we have this recorded. This is going to be the first video in April. And so I have videos up until April recorded, which is nice. I need to edit a lot of these. And then this is going to be next Monday. Not this next Monday. The Monday after that is your classic Clouser minnow. But this is from Lefty Cray's book. And he describes if you're fishing Clouser minnows, you need the chartreuse over white. And it's specifically tied like this. So, anyways. Catherwood's giant killer fly as well, which I recorded like 2 weeks ago, is going to be next week. Yeah, so I got a lot. Now I have to edit all this stuff and do voiceovers, and it's like a 3-part editing process. But you know, hey, that's what I'm doing. Now I have to tie 300 Baja flies, as well as other flies. And we're going to start oystering here soon, and oystering for a month and a half every day. So I don't know what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? Definitely not have time to watch streams, for sure. But we'll see. Good thing is I can work at times while doing that. But a lot of times I just listen to music while I tie flies off stream. I just put on like on YouTube, there's like, you know, early 90s, mid 90s hip hop mixes, and I'll just listen to like, you know, Mobb Deep and Nas and stuff like that. And all these bangers that I've never heard before, all these awesome artists. All right, well, we got one tail done. How long was that? 30 minutes? Not too bad, huh? Not too much. Busy night, but it's over now. Okay, good. I'm glad. Yeah, no, this is Danville Fine Mono Gin. So I got to do 10 of these. So we're going to keep doing this. For anyone that watched the new video, if you haven't, be sure to watch it after the stream. It's my first attempt at a video like that. If you want to talk about any of the subjects, and we're probably just going to talk about it whether you like it or not, the pillars or the fundamentals of picking the right fly when fly fishing for striped bass. So when I came up with this, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do a video where I'll talk about specific flies, different times of the year, all this, yada, yada, yada. And I wrote it all out, and I was like, this is way too much. This would be like a 30-minute long video. So, you know, like, I need to do something here. So I split it up, and I decided that the first one will be like, what's like the overall philosophy behind how you approach picking a fly for striped bass, right? Like where in the water column, what time, the yada yada yada, right? So, and this is kind of like the overall like approach more so than specifics, right? So it talks about how the first thing is like presentation. Presentation's like most of the time, if your fly's not in the right spot and it's not there for the right reasons, a lot of times if you strip a fly against the current in an unnatural way, fish will just like turn away and not even look at it. You need to make sure it looks like it's being swept out of a creek, naturally sometimes, or most of the time. So it's like presentation's very important, as well as then I start talking about like shape and profile, right? If they're eating silver sides, I'm not going to necessarily throw a big bunker fly. I could throw 5 million different flies, but as long as it's the right kind of shape, profile, and length overall, like color, we're not even talking about color now, then, if you got the right shape and profile, then now we're on the track, right? You got your fly in the right spot, and it looks, vaguely like what they're eating. You're already like, boom, you're pretty much all the way there. And then we go into color. If it's light out, use light color flies. If it's dark out, use dark color flies. That's it. Tan, gray, olive, whether what's on top or bottom, I don't think that really matters as much. Pink versus chartreuse versus yellow. It's more so like if it's light out, we use light color flies, dark color flies, and that has a lot to do with just lighting and how lighting works and how fish see flies from underneath, and how obviously the water's darker than the sky at nighttime, so darker flies stick out more from underneath. I mean, there's a million different things, and there's always, variables to where it's not going to be that way, but this is just like overall basic ideas, that this is how we come up with like flies and why I'm fishing this fly and stuff. And we haven't even talked about specifics, right? So that's the first one. The next one will be about more specific stuff, water temperatures, different times of year, and it's hard. It's like I want to like then be like, oh, so in the spring, but I don't want to go too deep into creek fishing because I think that could be a video in itself, because otherwise I'll end up just talking for like an hour. You know what I mean? Like I'll be trying to talk real quick about creeks, and next thing you know, I could go probably 45 minutes into just talking about what it's like when fly fishing in a creek versus a open beach in the back bay, And all this stuff usually crosses over pretty well, but there's always specifics, that I think apply to certain types of fishing and stuff. So it's hard. I'm like, this is all very new to me. So I'm like, how do I split it up? How do I approach this in a way that's going to be entertaining and not like too drawn out, but is it like informative enough, So I got to find a nice, spot. I'll get it over time. So leave me a comment on that video. Let me know what you think. Definitely got to work on my speaking skills. You know what I mean? I was like reading a script. My buddy sounds like you're reading a script. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly it. But I just got to work on it. I'm used to just saying, all right, now we're going to take bucktail, put this on, So I just got to get more comfortable with it is really all. But I'm pretty happy with it. I think some of it could have been better. You could tell I'm not a professional screenwriter. There is one point where I say like words that start with the letter P like 4 times in a row. And it's like P, particular, put. And I was like, oh God, that just doesn't, why did I write that like that? Just too many P's, But that's all right. I'm also extremely hypercritical, you know what I mean? Of like things that I do. It's just how I am. Always trying to improve. Not always good at improving it, but trying. So we've kind of loosely tied this on. Again, I'm tenting this hackle. We want more of an angle to it, so something like that. So you can see how we have essentially like a tent there. Hey, Nicholas. I came from that video. I really liked it. I'm tying up some Dalberg divers right now. Very cool. Yeah, Larry Dalberg. I was just trying to think of what his first name is. So, these are people that, like, for instance, Dalberg, very revolutionary in the world of deer hair spinning. Before him was like Bill Catherwood, if I'm not mistaken. I got to double check when the Dalberg diver came out. But, like, for instance, I have a new series I'm working on called Fly Tire Spotlight, and Bill Catherwood's going to be the first guy, because really, like, nobody that wasn't fly fishing or tying in the 90s or early 2000s, like, knows who Bill Catherwood is. He's one of the first people to ever create a realistic fly, and that was the Catherwood Giant Killer. Now, I have my better version that I tied. We have the tutorial, but this is a Giant Killer. And his version looks better than mine. But imagine seeing this in 1950. Sheep hair, right? Blackface sheep hair. I used Icelandic sheep hair because I thought YouTube might not like that sheep. But I just don't have that. It's a particular type of sheep hair that he was raising himself. And he was tying these in the 50s. And, like, people weren't tying striper flies like this. Or just saltwater flies in general. He mentions how, like, he was catching a bluefish in Massachusetts in the 50s, and somebody's like, hey, there's some crazy guy with a fly rod at the jetty trying to catch bluefish. And, they're all laughing. And then, like, 10 minutes later, hey, this crazy guy down at the jetty just caught a huge bluefish on the fly rod. It's crazy. And they're all like, oh, my God. Which people were saying that back in the 90s when I fly fished. They were like, what are you doing? There's no trout here, But this guy was one of the most revolutionary fly tyers around, Bill Catherwood, and most people don't even know him. And he bred his own chickens. He was like a revolutionary. He also helped popularize the umbrella rig. So almost every single charter boat in New England that fishes umbrella rigs, one of the main reasons is he was producing and, like, essentially teaching people how to fish umbrella rigs effectively. So he's widely credited not with inventing the umbrella rig, but revolutionizing it, or like highly popularizing it, which is like the way everybody fishes on charter boats nowadays, and probably kills a bunch of striped bass. But but Bill Catherwood is probably one of the most revolutionary fly tyers. Most people don't know. So Dalberg, another fantastic person. Dan Blanton, another fantastic fly tyer. A lot of these younger people, or even older people that just got into it at a certain age, don't know who these fly tyers are. So, thank you for bringing up Dalberg. Join our Discord if you like. I think there's a link in this one. There should be in the description. We'd love to see the Dalberg divers. If you got Discord, hop on in there. So now we're going to pinch. We're going to wrap. Which, again, Johnny Kings. Such a cool dude. I'll have to talk to him one day. I don't want to go too crazy. I'm like, oh, dude, I should get an interview with Chris Windrum from saltwaterflies.com. I should get an interview with Mark Sedati. Like, I should do there's so many different videos that I want to do. And I'm like, all right, let's chill out a little bit here. You know what I mean? I got clamming season coming up, All right, I got to fix this. There we go. Let me make sure I don't wrap directly on top of the feathers so I don't pinch down on it. We're kind of just going behind it. All right. So, let's put some super glue on here. Start a podcast? That's too much work. What's going on, Olivia? Or Oliva? What is it, Zavi? Is that how you say your name? Zavi? Am I saying that right? With the X? How do I pronounce your name? Let me get that right. Yeah, I don't know about a podcast. Zibby? What's going on, Ganjan? How you doing? Zibby, yes. All right, let's get some bucktail here. How you doing? What are you up to? But, yeah. There's, which is good because I'm going to be honest with you, when I was doing this, I'm like, I got to do 4 videos a week. And I'm like, man, that's a lot of flies. Like, and at some point I'm like, how many, how many different patterns are there? First off, I have a bunch of books. There's like 5 million patterns. And I don't want to tie flies that are very similar to other flies. I was very apprehensive about that, But there's nothing wrong with that. We could certainly do that as well. In that case, there's thousands, right? Then I was like, all right, well, we can always just tie a bucktail deceiver in multiple different ways, but like, let's do a herring, let's do a peanut bunker, let's do a squid. So then now we're into the multi-thousands, right? And now we can start doing videos on different fly fishing stuff and different tires. I'm like, okay, good. I think I'm good on video topics for the next 20 years of my YouTube career. So we'll be all right. But I was a little apprehensive at first. I'm like, oh man, I don't know how I'm going to keep coming up with ideas. It turns out there's a lot of different stuff. If you sit down and think about it, there's probably more ideas than I forget half the time. So I have like a whole schedule and notebook on OneNote dedicated to my YouTube channel. So there's like a lot, scripts, everything. So about to commute home. All right, we'll drive safe, and don't be chit-chatting while driving unless you're like on a bus or something. Put a little bucktail collar on here. No. Someone you know knows I'm watching you? I don't know. You shouldn't be. Definitely ain't me. If they sound like they're, not New York accent, then it's probably not me. It's like some guy, hey, I'm L.I. Flies Mike. Oh, give me your credit card number. Hey, oh. You new here? Well, we're glad to have you. You do any fly tying? Also, how do I pronounce your name? Is it Zavi? Am I saying that right? With the X? Very well could be. I don't know. Yeah, what they could do now is they can, like, let's say if you have elderly parents, they'll call your parents with AI voice, and especially someone like me who's on the internet and speaks a lot. They could simulate me and like, I'm in the hospital. I'm not even going to say it, right? Jeez, I just gave them, right there, just give them the hospital thing. I just gave them half of what they needed. They're smart. See, are you working for them, Jin? Because you just tricked me. But what they'll do is then they'll be like, oh, no, I need, whatever. And they're using AI, and some old, your elderly mother's like, hello, oh, no, I'll send you 1,000, or something. Next thing you know, you're getting scammed. It's unbelievable. First off, people like that, I mean, I hope they get the penalty to the max, but yeah. I'm sure it's only going to get worse before the Terminator bots starts trying to scam us. As Arnold's running around to give me an Amazon gift card. Oh, Albuquerque, huh? Oh, they drive like maniacs out in New Mexico? Hey, how's it going, Fly Tie New England? How you doing? I think I asked you this last time, but I'm going to keep asking you. You getting ready for springtime? You been doing any tying? You been whipping anything up? So we got some tails tied up here. I'll show you we got the tails, and I'll stick one of these in here so you can see what we're Whipping up these kinky muddlers, essentially, with EP heads. No flash, though. No flash. The cardinal sin of adding flash to a roosterfish fly. Send flies being held by New Mexico cartel. Threatening to cut holes in my waders. Please help. Yeah, now we're talking. The most deviant of all scams. I'm going to be honest with you. Your waders are getting cut. All right? I got way too many flies on the docket. I'm sorry. I can't be tying hostage flies right now. Just, I got too much work on the... I'm backlogged. So, good luck. I wish you the best. You know what I mean? Just threw a little spin in the vise, because why not? I got to get that. Look at that. Oof. That powder coat. I mean, you paint a 240 SX like that, and now we're talking. You got a show car. My Regals. Hot Rod Regal. Only magic card scams are worse. Now, what's magic card scams? Are we talking Wizards of the Coast, or are we talking actual card scams? And both are considered scams. I haven't played Commander in a while. We're like straight up Warhammer 40k nerds. I have a 3D printer, though. Or just MTG. Mm-hmm. Are you trying to get mythics from Arena or something? Yeah, I haven't looked at any of the new sets for like the past year and a half probably. So I couldn't tell you, but I know they got SpongeBob. That's something. Trying to figure out what's the best representation of a New England shrimp pattern. Now let me ask you, how do you plan on fishing this New England shrimp pattern, Mr. New England Fly Tying? Let me propose to you this question, because this is going to be a determining factor on what is the quote-unquote best. If you're fishing with a 10.5-foot rod, a floating line, then almost like a steelhead type fly, where you could even fish a general practitioner, but you could just tie essentially like a Kenny Abrams sort of squimpish sort of fly, where it's very minimalistic with hackle and almost no flash and just two natural materials like bucktail and hackle, palmered on there, and you're dead drifting it or fishing it with grease line fishing, right? Now you can do this sort of technique with an ultra shrimp, but it may be better to have a more natural translucent material. But if you're like stripping the fly, if you're even fishing off grass shrimp chumming or whatever, I think if you're doing a more traditional like strip and pauses as opposed to like, salmon fishing for striped bass, if you will, then I think probably your traditional, ultra shrimp is where it's at. Yo, Ganjan, let me turn this down, by the way. It was a little loud. Yo, Ganjan, thank you. Appreciate it. I'm out, brother. Zibby. All right, Zibby. Thank you for the 55. Appreciate it. New set has some stupid rare drops. Hasbro Hustle. Yep. If it ain't $100 rare or mythic, then for standard, then what are you doing, Back blaze and flats, intermediate line, most likely grass shrimp. I mean, not grass shrimp, ultra shrimp. And I'll even show you the real deal. Not mine. Well, I do have a real one. Where is that? I'm not going to show you two now because I need to like fix the glass and everything, but unfortunately, these are old Popovix flies I have, and they're kind of just beat up. I think moths got in there. I had a shady lady. I really got to do something with it, but somebody found it at the dumps, like when, I guess, an estate, somebody died, and my teacher at the time in my shop class was like, I found a thing with flies. Do you want it? And it was like from Bob Popovix, and it was like all Popovix flies. And this is back from the 90s. But the ultra shrimp. Bob Popovix, I mean, he knows what he's doing, man. If you're going to fish this with an intermediate line on the flats and stuff, I mean, it really doesn't get better. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm still not happy with how I tie 'em half the time. I have my own style and technique, But man, I mean, just the way Pop ties them is so good. So you could spend probably a lifetime trying to get your ultra shrimps to be like that perfect, you know. So check out Pop Flies. I'm not going to give you all the good stuff, but we also do have a video for the ultra shrimp. I still think the way I tie it, I mean, I've caught tons of fish on it. I'm still trying to get that like perfect profile, but check out my ultra shrimp video. It's how to tie it, so. Yeah, I do have a video for it. It's just basically Supreme hair. It's tan Supreme hair, some saddle hackle. You could throw some rubber legs. You can make some eyes, and you throw UV resin or epoxy on it, and there you go. All right. Hey, that's what we're here for. That's what the live streams are for. I'm pretty much, if you're looking for like a step-by-step instructional on how to tie flies while I'm live streaming, go watch my videos. Because usually we end up having a couple white claws, and next thing you know, we're talking about aliens or ultra shrimps. Yeah, I unfortunately I didn't. Oh shit, my head. Excuse me, my headphones stopped working there. Hold on, I gotta get a new set. Mic check. Okay. Unfortunately, we lost Popovic's absolute legend. I got to meet, I mean, I met him multiple times throughout the years from when I was a little kid to when I was older, but I think it was the last time I worked the New Jersey Fly Show, I was at the Saltwater Edge booth, tying there, and I got to go up to him, and I'm like, hey, you know, we've met before, you probably don't remember me, but, you know, I just wanted to let you know that, like, you've literally changed my life, more so than any other fly tyer. I tie commercially for a living, you know, I quit my job as a mechanic. And Pop Flies taught me pretty much like everything I need to know about modern day striper tying or just fly tying in general, like fly design, right, with Pop Flies. So it was really nice. We had a short conversation. I didn't want to talk his ear off, but I was like, I just wanted to let you know, like, and I'm sure I'm like the 30th person that said this, but you ruined my life. And then I just walked away. No. I quit my well-paying job as a mechanic to tie flies for a living because I love Pop Flies so much, and you ruined my life. Oh, well, see, I can tell Sedati wherever I want because he needs a ride to go fishing, all right? So I pick him up, and we go fishing, and he gives me cool slammers because I then paddle him around while he catches bluegills, and I'm like, Mark, I can't cast because I'm a lefty. He's like, oh, you're a lefty? And it's like 10 minutes later, Mark, you got to cast to the right. I'm going to hit you in the head. I'm fishing like a 10-inch tandem hook fly. Oh, you're a lefty. Oh, okay. So like, no, Mark, I'm so lucky to be able to hang out with Mark and go fishing with him. We're going to go fishing this upcoming week, hopefully. So he's an idol of mine, and he's a living legend. And he is going to come over here. He's going to tie some flies. I'm going to film it because we want to film some flies for his YouTube channel because he has a new YouTube channel, Mark Sedati, the Master Angler or something. I got to remember the exact name of it, but just look up Mark Sedati on YouTube and give him a sub because he deserves it. He's one of the greatest fly casters and probably the first person that specifically tied 12-inch striper flies with the intent of catching very large striped bass in deeper water underneath bunker pods. Like the Sedati Slammer was the first castable 12-inch fly that you could cast 100 feet, and it was meant to specifically catch big striped bass and be fishable. And that's due to the lead keel and the design of the weight balance. So there's probably about 35 Mark Sedati videos that I want to film with Mark here at my house because I want to just have an archive of his knowledge. And the great thing about Mark is we can have a discussion for an hour about saddle hackle. And it could be 2 hours. And I'd be like, we got to wrap it up. You know, and I still want to talk about it as well. But he's just such a great conversationist, you know. So I told him, like, for your channel, we really got to film, like, we got to get more videos for stuff like this because, like, people need to know the logic behind these things and the science behind it. And there's a lot of stuff that, you know, I think a lot of modern-day fly anglers are unaware of. You know, damn it. This mono thread, these hooks are so sharp, they don't stand a chance. I'm getting a little distracted here. I got Mark Sedati fever, you know. Yeah, we had years ago. We had a Twitch meetup, and we had people from New York City. I think did Jen come out? Jen, did you come out to that from Massachusetts? But we had people from upstate New York City, maybe somebody from Jersey, but people all over the island came out and we went fishing locally, which is not easy to do because most places you can't park. But we went, I forgot we actually did that, man. That was years ago. We had a Twitch meetup and went fishing. I don't know if anyone remembers. FVL Marat was there. Shout out one of my longest Twitch subs, FVL Marat. We had Artie was there. I think Yo It's Okay. Maybe North Fork Flies. I don't know. There was like a whole bunch of people that showed up. Yeah, you didn't come to that one. Yep. Yeah, the thing is, man, it's tough, But who knows? Maybe in the future we might do something like that, or we'll do like a night where everybody comes and hangs out and ties, and we can have the local fly shop host it. You know what I mean? You guys can buy materials if you need it, whatever. But we gotta wait till I have like 10, 20,000 subs, and then we'll have like a rod company sponsor it, or something like that. There's something called the Cheeky Fly Rod Tournament. We could always have the LI Flies Mike Striper Tournament in May in the future. You know what I mean? Sponsored by Lamborghini. Somebody wins a Murcielago. Easy. Perfect. Somebody just get on the phone with Italy. But yeah, I just got to try and make 4 videos a week. Let me stick to that for the moment, and then we'll worry about the rest later. Our tented hackle looking good. I think I might put some music on here. I have some Epidemic Sound. You did show me some spots a few years ago. I felt bad you broke your... Yeah, I broke my Ken Abrams rod. Oh, I think it was damaged from fishing in my kayak. The seat would fall sometimes, and I would keep my rods under the seat like an idiot, but it was like the best place to put them to not snag my fly rods. And the Ken Abrams, I think, got some damage from that, unfortunately. But yeah, that was fun when you came out and we fished. All right, get a little super glue. We'll get there. I've been doing pretty good. I've been getting 300 to 200 subs a month, with 4 videos a week. So if you put the time and effort, you'll get rewarded. It's not crazy, but I'm definitely seeing it's nice. I'm getting rewarded for my hard work, right, on YouTube, which is nice because I'll tell you right now, it's 4 videos is definitely, and I try to put, I probably edit each video about 3 or 4 hours. Especially I've started adding just doing a lot more in terms of trying to have a higher quality video in terms of the final edit and everything. There's a lot. There's color balancing. There's audio work, all that. But, I'm working on it. I've gotten it down pretty good. I have a nice kind of workflow when it comes to editing. So the main thing is I need to film everything like a week or 2 ahead of time. And then I can just edit it throughout the week because I do not want to have to like record a video and edit it and then like upload it that night. It's too much. So I got a nice kind of healthy schedule thing that I'm working on. And it's been working. It's been over a month. No, we started on the 8th. When was it? Was it February 8th? I think we started. So yeah, it's been over a month. I've been doing the 4 videos a week. So I think I made like 20 something videos in the past month and a week or something like that. But yeah, we've been working on it. We'll get there. All in due time. If I make good enough videos, people watch it. So that's the main thing I'm working on. But that's why I'm expanding. We're trying new things. Hopefully the new fly fishing for striped bass video does well. And this like series, it's going to be like ongoing series probably for the next 20 years on how to catch striped bass and other fish. There's just, I mean, just so many different things we could talk about. Because if you really want to get psychotic, which most striper fishermen do, you know. Oh, Tony. Okay, gotcha. I didn't realize that was you, Tony. My bad. I got to start treating you with, I got to start, you know, throwing you some jabs some more then. Taking it easy on you. But, gotcha. Well, that makes more sense. What's going on? Let's Funkin' Go, which, by the way, is such a great Twitch name. All right, it's looking pretty good. We're working. We're getting some stuff done here. How many do we got? I shouldn't even count. This is why when you're commercial tie, you don't even count. 5. Okay, we're halfway with the 4 odd tails. Let's keep cranking them out. Yo, Jim, what's going on? Sorry if I missed you, Jim. By the way, I'm reading 2 chats. I'm waiting for Joe F. Joe F, where the hell are you? Get in the chat. I want to gift him a membership. He's been trying to figure out how to become a member. Doing super chats on the videos. And we're like trying to get him. He's like, I can't become a member. God damn it, Joe F. Get in here. I'll gift you a membership. I'm waiting for him to come in. All right. 360 degrees. I still can't figure out the Discord. I don't know what's going on. You click the link in Twitch or there. It's an app. You either download the app or you make an account and then you can talk. It's like a social media platform is really what it is. But a bunch of kids use it. And people that are my age to play video games and talk to each other. But it's also, that's like the original thing, right? But it's also like now it's like a community thing. I don't know why it's not working or you can't get it to work or if you're on your phone. Yeah, you need to make an account because you can't join it or talk without an account because what'll happen is, there's bots and stuff. Somebody like at some point figured out how to spam racial things via text to speech. Like, why is that even an option, Discord, that people can do that off the bat? This is like early stuff that I learned years ago streaming. So you can't let people do certain things because people will make bots, they'll troll, but people will try and scam. So I have like, you have to be verified, you have to wait 24 hours to talk. Usually if you just make them wait 5 minutes, that gets rid of 90% of the bozos out there. But a lot of it is like bots and stuff, so it's unfortunate, but it's part of just anything like this. So I apologize if there's little extra barriers and things, but like you'd be surprised the depravity of some people out there on the internet. Like how they figure these things out. Some Cheeto-crusted kid somewhere in like Scandinavia is like, oh, I'm going to spam racist things in this fly tire Discord, you know. Like what? Why is that even why is that a default option for people to be able to do that? The joy of learning how to put yourself out there on the internet. It's a learning curve. I've been doing it for a while, luckily, but you know, still learning some things. Yeah, somebody's like, people in my Twitch stream were like, whoa, something crazy's going on in Discord, right? I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, you might want, and I had somebody who was modding as well. They took care of it, but I was like, why would, like a brand new Twitch dude didn't know. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Oh, God. Good times. So believe me, I understand, and especially I have a lot of my viewer base on YouTube is like folks that are, you know, like 10, 20 years older than me, so I struggle at times with a lot of this stuff. And I was born in the age of like where we actually had computer classes. I remember when computers were brand new in elementary school. They were like Windows 95. I think it might have been pre-9. We had those whatever, like pre-computers. Jen I always forget the name of it. Yep, good old technology. Sounds good, Jen. Sounds good. Cranking out some tails here. Looks good. Pretty much the main thing is you want to make sure it stays tented before you fully whack down on it and tighten it. Make it durable. So that way we can keep that tail. And I'm just... It's one thing when you're tying, one fly at a time. I'm commercially tying, so it's like as much as I want to spend each fly like Picasso, like it's a work of art, it's like this is production tying, so I need to wrench down on these feathers at times here, make sure they're nice and durable, make sure the hackle's still neat like that. As much as I want to get Mike Ross up in here, Tying Flatwings got a line on good hackle. I have a site, but they want $70 a bag. Are we talking full patches? Saddle patches? Saltwaterflies.com. I'll pull it up. Or Whitewater Outfitters. It's the hairline dubbing pastel patches. I'll show you right now. Saltwaterflies.com. Everything but the materials. Flatwing patches. These are what I use for all my videos. Okay, there's only certain colors. They're pastel colors. Guess what? Ideal flatwing colors. If you're looking for other colors, you got to go to fly shows, go to the Keo booth or the Mets booth. They have discount. That's how I get the blues, and those things last me for years because I'm only using one hackle out of like 100. But these right here, $30. Yeah, $30. Okay? You don't need to spend $80 for hackle, especially in 2025 when the world is probably going to end in 10 years, okay, and we could barely afford to pay our bills. There's no reason to be buying $100 saddle hackles. Somebody at the fly show was like, hey, somebody here is selling flatwing hackle for $80 a piece. Do you buy those? And I'm like, hell no. I can barely afford to pay my car insurance. You want me to spend $100 on hackle? No, I buy $30 hairline hackle, and guess what? This is like, if I could have bought this back in 2005 or 2001 for $30, I would have been like, oh my God, what a deal. In 1998, this would have been a deal for $30. We were buying hackle for like $50 back then. And it wasn't even flatwing hackle. It was like dry fly hackle. They didn't even have roosters that were bred to have like, it was very hard to find like this thickness of hackle back in the 90s. So for $30, saltwaterflies.com, pastel pouches, all you need. Round of applause. Round of applause for saltwaterflies.com and hairline dubbing. You can get them at Whitewater Outfitters if you're on the island as well. Okay. If you want blue, I don't know what to tell you. You're going to have to find, patches. Like I said, go to the fly show, Keo. Crazy Scottish or Irish dude. Hey, I'm out here. What you want to? He's like yelling, and he's got discount boxes of hackle. That is the guy. That guy's awesome. I love that guy. I don't know the guy's name. He's been doing it for like 20 years at the New Jersey Fly Show. He's always there. It's the Keo booth, if I'm not wrong. It's not Mets. It's Keo. Some like crazy Irish or Scottish or Welsh dude. I don't know where he's from, but he's like, oh, what you want? And he's like yelling at you, and you're buying hackle like 4 for $25 each. And like some of those hackles I still have like from 10 years ago and 5 years ago, 3 years ago. So I'm pretty sure it's the Keo guy. You got to go to the fly show and find the Keo guy. Okay? And when I say crazy, I mean in a good way. This guy would probably break your hand like giving you a handshake. You know, that sort of guy. All right. Let's tie a little bucktail on here. That makes 6 tails. We got 4 more 4 odds. We have 2 odds to tie, and then we could finish these. The goal is to get, if not 10 or if not 20, we'll try and at least get 5 or 6 fully done with the eyes and everything. But we got started somewhat early. Thing is, I might need to work tomorrow. I'm still waiting to hear. So if that's the case, I'm not streaming super late. So that's why we started early today. But let's finish this. Then I can take a break, go use the restroom. We'll keep cranking away. Maybe we'll skip the 2 odds, and what we'll do is when we get done with the 4 odds, we'll start doing the heads so we can at least have some of them tied completely, so it's a little bit more less monotonous for you guys to watch. But, we're kind of just chit-chatting at the moment. Just during the fly streams, we usually talk about stuff and, if you have any questions, and usually fly fishing related. So, yeah, hopefully that helped. And you could tell Chris I sent you. I've been tying flies for him for I don't know how long now. So, let's see. I think it's been like 7 years? I don't know. Something like that. 6, maybe more. It was before I started streaming, so it was like 7 or 8 years I've been commercially tying for Chris. So, something like that. Maybe less. I don't know. It's hard. It's all blend nowadays, but and I've been buying materials from saltwaterflies.com since I don't know when the website started. But I think it was like the late 90s. I want to say 98 or 99 or like 2000 was the first time I bought stuff from that website, and it looked like that back then. By the way, he hasn't changed the site in like almost 30 years, and I love it. Or 20-something years. But I was talking to Chris earlier today, the owner, and I was like, he's like, man, you've been buying for a while. I was like, hell yeah, I've been buying since you had those bright green got backing bumper stickers. We had it on my dad's. This is how I know it was so long ago, because my dad had a Griswold's, like, wood panel, station wagon. It was like a Buick or something. It was like a Griswold's family vacation vehicle where it was like half falling apart. You know what I mean? And we had a got backing sticker on it. So, and it was the bright chartreuse got backing sticker that he used to give you. You would get a sticker when you would order from saltwaterflies.com back in the day, in the 90s. So, pretty cool. And then this is back when Got Milk, if anyone remembers the Got Milk campaign of the 2000s, his was got backing with a question mark. If you've ever seen that before, that's what that's from, saltwaterflies.com. So sometimes when I'm tying flies for Chris and I post it on Instagram, I'll do #GotBacking for any of the OGs out there that see that. And I'm like, okay, then you're a real one. Bill Keogh. Shout out to Bill Keogh. I could pull out my, in fact, I might as well, because I have the whole thing out here. So give me a sec. I'll show you guys real quick. This is how I store my hackle in a giant plastic. I can't even show you this because it's so big, but in a giant plastic thing, and I have like multiple levels. This is what holds my bucktail. I have material from saltwaterflies.com that I keep for their commercial tie-in. This is a Keogh patch that I bought in that discount box, and I still have it. This is after about 10, I know this is probably about 6-7 years. And it's almost just starting to be done. And there's still a ton of these small ones that are really great. I should be using these for deceivers, man. I should be tying mackerel deceivers that are like 4 inches. I didn't even think about that. I should put those on Angler's Marketplace. By the way, starting to sell flies on Angler's Marketplace. If you do want to support the stream or my YouTube channel and you want something out of it, you can buy flies if you want to support me. So, because I used to have a website that was so expensive to run. I only have 12 sand eel candies up there right now. Eventually, I'm going to have a whole variety of flies. The person who runs it, they were like, hey, you should sell flies on here. We'd love to have you. I was like, okay, cool. I'll get working on it, but I'm so busy right now. But eventually, I'll have a wide variety of flies on there. You guys can buy. I have a link. I'll have a link in my YouTube videos for it, and we'll have a link on Twitch. But these are the Keogh patches that I still have to this day that are fantastic. They're pretty much almost bare now. All the good stuff's been picked out. But $25 each. So if you see them, it might be more nowadays. I don't know what the price is, but I don't know what the deal is with the hackle market with the bird flu. They literally just culled and killed all of the ducks at a local duck farm, which is right next to where we do our bunker fishing, where our shop is. So there's a bird flu going on. There's all the chickens and waterfowl places. They're having to kill all their livestock because of bird flu. So I have no idea how that's going to affect the hackle market. But yeah, we'll see. We shall see, I suppose. But thank you, mile marker, Bill Keogh. There you go. I just remember he's like, get your hackle. He probably wasn't even doing that. I just picture him being so loud and like, yeah, almost like a hackle salesman. And I was like, all right, I like this guy. I'm going here. And this was like, I feel like I was a kid, back in the day when that happened. But yo, Trout Addict, by the way, how's it going? I think you got a gift membership from my buddy Rev. So take advantage of it. You got the membership. I upload videos a couple days early, sometimes a week early, depending if I'm trying to get my work done in advance. And I do that so I can like have my stuff laid out. So I upload videos like ahead of time and then release them so I'm not falling behind. But members get early access, so take advantage of that. There's the Silly Leg Bonefish Fly. There's the Look at My Fly Box. So I'm just saying make sure you take advantage of it. And shout out to Rev for the gift sub. Hell yeah. So if you go to videos, you'll see, it doesn't show it normally, but if you go to videos, you'll see videos that are uploaded ahead of time. And members get like a couple days early access just as a thank you. Because I already have them uploaded, I might as well before they premiere or go live. So make sure you take advantage of it. I'm going to be uploading, let's see, Bill Catherwood's Giant Killer. It'll get uploaded probably Monday or like Sunday, this weekend. Then there's the giveaway video on Friday, which you can watch ahead of time and, enter or whatever. But Friday, that'll come live. And then there's Sunday's video is how to tie your own DIY saltwater leaders. So there should be a plethora of things for you to watch fairly soon. Because I'm going to start oystering every day. And I need to get as much done as possible because I'm going to be exhausted. So if I can get like 2 weeks ahead of time with videos, oh, man, it's going to be nice. And then I can, I try to get like 4 videos filmed in a day. I'm ordering a new external hard drive. I've filled up 2 terabytes with footage in about, I think it was a year. Yeah, it was about a year. I filled up 2 terabytes of fly tying and fishing footage, which is pretty crazy. And some miniatures. I have a good amount of STL files for my 3D printing, but a lot of it is footage because it's all in 4K, or most of it. Very nice. You got a drone. Very cool. Are you in, what's the NL stand for? Newfoundland, right? Yeah, you'll get some cool drone footage. It's Newfoundland, right? Yeah, a good friend of mine, South Fork Salt. Check him out on YouTube or Instagram. He's got some of the most amazing drone footage you'll ever see. Humpback whales and bluefin tuna eating bunker. And he does it all with the DJI, if I'm not wrong. Newfoundland, yep. Yeah, there's some beautiful country up there. I'm sure people would like to see that. Little super glue at vital steps. So you can see these kinky mother tails. Should have a lot of action to them. I'm excited to, I'm going to have to test some too, just to be certain, but... Okay. Let's see. All right, we have 4 more of these to tie, which we need to do. We are going to take a quick little break, though, and I'm just going to grab a drink and use the restroom. And we'll finish up these tails, then we'll start working on the heads. Let me actually grab, while I have this, I've got my EP fiber, brand new packs that we're going to be blending. We're not adding any flash. We're keeping these flashless. But we got to make some EP, we got to cut this down for V-ties. So I have my EP fiber. We're going to finish just a couple more tails, and then we could start building the heads. And this is what we're going to be tying. We'll make sure that we finish up a couple of these, put the eyes on and all that. So, let's take a quick little break, and we'll be back here in just a moment for some more fly tying. So let me play my Albie video. I'm working on a new, what do you call it? A new video for breaks, which is just going to be swim tank footage. So I got to edit that at some point. It'll probably take like 15 minutes, not even. But so we will have a new break video soon. But for now, the classic. All right, I'll be back in a sec. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Stay tight, alright? Yep, keep it tight. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Aiden. Knuckle buster. Are you good? Do you need me to do anything?
Yeah, I might need a ride. Yes.
Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna turn now.
I'm gonna try and get on the bow.
Yeah, get on the bow. Alright, you're doing good. Keep doing your thing. I'm gonna move us away.
Is that a little one?
No, that's a nice one.
Oh, let's go!
Come here, hold next to Allie. Good job.
That's sick.
Alright. Nice.
Let's go! Albie slap.
Good job, dude.
Yee.
Looking down the barrel of a 12 gauge little tuny, bro. On the albacore too. Oh my god, dude! What the fuck? Woohoo! Yep. Oh my God! I gotta turn the boat so I can cast. Okay, we're back. Where are the fish? Good question, Repentant Man. Good question. What's going on? Hopefully soon. I've only got a little DJI Neo, nothing advanced or sophisticated. Yeah, that's all you need, though. Let's get a little music going. Some epidemic sound. I also want to make sure this is not too loud, so... Catch fish with dynamite works great. Ah, interesting. That'll do it. Fly fishing with dynamite or just dynamite fishing? Fly fishing with dynamite is considered more of a sporting activity. Because you have to light the fuse and then cast it and count your cast. But alright, let's keep on these tails. Rooster fish flies, eh? Well, I probably got to get more bucktail, but I think I have some more tails actually, but let me turn this down just a little bit. One stick and you got a great dinner. Hell yeah. And pre-gutted, right? From the inside out. Yeah, unfortunately, you need a license for that. They don't let you dynamite fish, but all right, let's get a little bucktail here. That should be good. Again, we got to tie this 360 degrees around the hook shank. So a couple loose ties. I'm gonna actually probably even add a little more because we got to go all the way around. She had a good refresher from the bulkhead. It was interesting. I didn't know he tied Popix tied his the first initial tie 360 degrees. Should probably try this more on more flies in general to see how it works for the tail section. And go ahead and put our hackle on. We got 4 more of these and then we can start doing the bodies. Kaboom! Yeah, I was joking. They would never let you use dynamite around here. I live in New York. That would be something else, for sure. I don't think the Bay Constables would be happy. They probably would not be happy about that one. But how was dinner, Jen? Get our white hackle on here. Tent it. Yada, yada, yada. Yeah, we'll be fishing soon. Not with dynamite. But striped bass will be showing up soon. We'll be chasing them. Alright. Some nice tan hackle. Yep. Digging it. So these flies are imitating sardina, which is a type of bait fish down in the Gulf of Mexico and on the Pacific and all over. So that's what these fish are chasing. So tan over white, olive over white, all white, gray over white, yada yada yada. Those are the good classic colors, if you will, that we're using. These are mostly tan over white because it's kind of like the exact sort of color when you look at them. Tan over white's a very popular one. Excuse me. So I have a ton of stuff coming from saltwaterflies.com. A lot of slinky fiber. We're going traditional on some of these. These ones I'm tying with EP fiber because that's kind of how I like tying them. But I mean, I'm sure there is a difference. I don't think it's that much of a difference. But we're going to tie them exactly how Mr. Keynes tied them. I guess we could test them out. I'm going to take them down to the creek, make sure they all swim good before I tie 200 and something of them. So we'll go underneath, wrap, back around, and then on top, and create a little perch for this hackle, if you will. And now we put some super glue because we want it to be durable. Yeah, I checked. It looks like the new video is not doing too bad. Usually a good video for me, because I'm a pretty small YouTube channel, is like 500 views in the first 24 hours. That's usually an indicator like, okay. That being said, usually after like 48 hours, YouTube's like, all right, your video's dead now. See ya. Good thing is later on, people watch it, but we'll see. That's the fun thing about YouTube is, do I have a good title? Are the thumbnails good? I have 3 different thumbnails. Which one's the best? They're going to test that, this and that, but it's all part of the world of YouTube. Okay. Let's finish these tails. Then we can start working on the heads. So I gotta tie 20 of these, 10 in 4-odd, 10 in 2-odd. Where's the list? I have it right somewhere here. We gotta tie, oh crap. We gotta tie 20 squimpish hollows in 2-odd and 4-odd, like this. Right here. With an epoxy head, which is interesting. I think it was a flex head too. Yeah, so it actually has flex to it. That should be interesting. I think this could be good. I'm sure your traditional rooster fish guy's like, oh, no, ain't gonna work, nope. But I have a feeling that's gonna work. As long as it doesn't foul. And I gave that to him to fish, and he said it works great, so. And then what else? There's another fly. There's like a guide fly, which is essentially, it was like a kinky muddler. He wants 12 of those, 6 and 6, I guess. So I mean, we got, God, dude, I'm talking. Oh man, the joy of fly tying. The joy of fly tying. That's all I'm gonna say. No, they're fishing from boats. Probably the pangolas, I think they're called, or something. What's the name of those boats in South America that they use? Those wood boats. Is it pangas? I think it's called pangas, not pangolas. Pangolas are like a mammal that are covered in armored scales. Or like a marsupial or something. It's a panga, I think it's called. They're fishing out of boats like that. Probably on the edge of beach, you know, rips off beaches, like on the breakwater, or rips or something, or reefs, you know. You know, I'll ask them if somebody films down there to like send me a link and we'll watch it on stream, because they're all going to be like, a good amount of them will be fishing with my flies from this trip. So Not everybody, but we'll at least have an idea. Some of the fish, a good amount of the fish that'll be caught on this trip, and there's a lot of people going, will be on my flies. So I'll ask the owner, who's the guide, or the person who's setting up this trip, to like send me a video if somebody makes it or something. And I'll try and get like permission from somebody. Maybe we'll use it in like a, video in the future or something. I don't know. But it'd be cool to get some actual footage of like fish with our flies, Even though the Johnny King's fly, we're still doing the tying here, so. You could have 10 different fly tyers tie this exact fly. And I guarantee you they'd all be different. Almost certainly. It's a good chance. Also, I'm going to turn on my, hold on, give me a sec. Being that we have music on now, and I'm going to worry about any dead air, let me put my noise canceling thing on. So you don't hear any, like, banging and clanging in the background. Filters, where are we at? There we go. Noise suppression, holla at me. Mic check, mic check. How we sounding? Good. How you doing, chat? It's Friday night. I'm over here chatting up a storm. What about you folks? How's everybody doing? You got any plans for the weekend? We're starting to get to the point to where it's actually fishing season, to where I can ask you guys if you're going to go fishing this weekend. I went fishing with Mark Sedati. I got some cool footage. I don't think it was enough to make like a full-fledged video. I might make a couple-minute long video just to put it out there. But we went fishing, and fishing a 10-inch brush fly for Pyara that I tied for my friend, which we have a video for, so it's awesome. A video of the brush fly. For the intro, I got me landing a nice 3.5 pound largemouth with this 10-inch fly in its mouth. And I'm waiting to do, because my buddy Jeff is on a plane right now to South America to catch peacock bass and Pyara, which I'm just going to pull up a photo of a Pyara for any of you folks that don't know what it looks like, because I wasn't necessarily familiar with I knew the fish, but I didn't know the name. But check this out. This is what I filmed a fly for this recently. Let me just make sure. Oh yeah, Jeremy Wade's in here. He's fished for him. Just make sure there's not any like genitalia. Okay, good. You can see Jeremy Wade right there with one, but look, people are fly fishing for him. So we just tied. They were 10 inches, Sedati slammer style with bucktail, tandem hooks, 60-pound wire with tungsten beads for rattling. 4-rod hooks up front, blue waters, and I tested them out to make sure they swam good, and they did. And I caught some nice largemouth. I caught 2 nice largemouth that day, so they work good. So this is what my buddy's on a plane for right now, and I tied 2 flies for these, and then I tied 9 peacock bass flies, which I'm sure most of you know peacock bass, but I don't even know where he's going, by the way. I didn't even ask him where he was going. But we just tied some jumbo flies for these as well. He's going somewhere in South America or Central America. I still don't know. But, yeah. Well, Jeff just went and caught bonefish. He's over here. I'm tying flies for Jungle Cock Jeffy, traveling the world. Here I am tying 300 rooster fish flies. When do I get to go for rooster fish, chat? Maybe one day. When's my giant trevally trip? First, I gotta fix my trim unit, and then we can just go fishing locally on my boat. That's really all I want in life. Probably Colombia? Yeah, he might be going to Colombia. I'm not certain. I gotta ask him. I didn't even ask him. Jungle Cook. Hey, I got rid of half of those things, by the way, because they were like, you can get canceled nowadays, all right? Making Jungle Cock jokes. Okay? You got to be careful. Yeah, it's probably Colombia. I know Brazil's really popular as well. I'm going to tell you what I would go to South America for. I go to Argentina And what is it? The Rio. What's the name of it? It was from Fly Fishing with Paul Young. Does anyone know Paul Young, the Scottish TV show Fly Fishing? What was the name? Fly Fishing with Paul Young? Was that it? Or Fishing? I forgot the name of it. It was one of my favorite TV shows, The Scottish Gentleman. One of the best fly fishing shows ever. And he goes to this river in Argentina, but for golden dorado. And he's swinging flies for golden dorado. It was so cool because he's a salmon fisherman. So he was like, I'm just going to swing the flies. And he was catching these big golden dorado. And I was like, oh, dude. River Parami, or I forgot the name of it. But golden dorado are what I want to catch in South America. That's whew, that's my thing. I would love it. One day I'll do it. The only, this is the stuff that's really stopping me nowadays is my bad back. So I probably should do it sooner than later because like one bad fall in the jungle throwing out my back and that's kind of game over, I feel like. You can't really get help out there. So. The older I get, I got to be careful. I'm still pretty spry and young, but I just have bad back issues, unfortunately. But that might be a limiting factor in some of these expeditions that I've always wanted to do. But I'll be honest with you, I'll be happy to just go and catch some dorado somewhere. One day I'll do it. Never fished for tarpon, never fished for bonefish, never fished for permit. I've never fished for snook. I've technically fished around snook, but I've never caught one. I've caught redfish, speckled trout, in different offshore species in Florida, but there's a lot of game fish that I've commercially tied tons of flies for that I've never even attempted to try and fish for. I did attempt in Aruba for bonefish, but it was like in resort areas in Aruba. It was not really ideal. Probably could have done it if I was actually dedicated to it, but let's get some focus here. There we go. Let me zoom in. That might have been one of the reasons why I zoomed in earlier, because I'm being lazy. I have it on autofocus. Yeah, I do. I don't know if I'm doing the exact ones you sent me, but multiple people have, what do you call it? I do certain back exercises where I lay down on the ground and do certain things. I don't do it every day, but I do it when it's there's issues at times. That, and I use arnica gel, which is the greatest thing ever if you've never used arnica gel. But, it helps for sure, but it's not going to just like magically fix it. So, yeah, at some point here, I do need to go to the doctors for a couple of different things, but it would be good to get some x-rays for an update because it's been a while, but I got some done back years ago when I was in high school, and they were like, yeah, sorry, bud, it's not looking too good back there. Curves this way, it curves that way, it curves this way and that way. Oh, wow, we don't see that very often. Yeah, your spine's kind of just a mess. But good luck with that. Yeah, there's ones that were shown to me years ago that worked nice. There's one that where essentially you lay flat and you put your the back of your calves up against a chair essentially, and your knee and to your foot is laying flat on the chair, and you just push your hips up essentially. Dude, I'm gonna tell you, I'll be honest with you though, like after doing that, sometimes I can't even, you got to be careful. You have to ease yourself into doing some of these exercises because sometimes it's like I can't even get up, so. Butterflies. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to get back surgery because just getting back surgery can result in a lot of bad things. So I'm trying to manage it the way I can, and just be careful. I just not hurt myself and not do things to exert myself in certain ways. Hence why I'm trying to I'm trying to do less like commercial fishing and things like that, I'm trying to scale back the amount of extraneous activities because it's I have to be careful. If I severely hurt myself, it's a 2-month process of not being able to walk right. You know what I mean? And I can't be out for 2 months, you know? So last time it took about a month and a half before I was like back to being able to fully move properly. You know what I mean? After throwing my back out. I'm 34 years old, so can't be hurting myself. It's just that simple, you know? As much as I want to be able to do all sorts of things, I just got to be careful, right? And, you know, like you said, I try and exercise. I manage my weight. I'm down to like 160. Oh, I don't do the raking. I do the sorting. Specifically because my back. Sometimes I'll do it, but I can only do it for, you know, at most throughout the day, maybe, 30 minutes. But bull raking, I don't do that. That's what AC Fishing does. He's the young buck that has a good back and is healthy and strong. Yeah, I can't do that. It's one of the reasons why I work with him. Otherwise, I'd just do it myself. You know what I mean? If I had my boat, I could easily pay to fix my boat and do all that. But unfortunately, I just can't because of my back. So I can do it, but I couldn't do it for 3 hours. I couldn't get 2,000 clams, I would have to ease my way. It would probably, it would be tough for sure. I couldn't do it every day, I don't think. I can do it from shore with a scratch rake. And everyone was surprised. They were telling me I wouldn't be able to because of my back. But I'm using my hips. I'm not bending over with my back at all. So scratch raking with a harness called donkey raking is what they call it up here. I can actually do, which is cool. So you can like pull your boat up to a sandbar that nobody can clam from their boat, and you can scratch rake with a donkey rake is what they call it. So that does work, and I can do that, and I've done it, and I've made money doing it, which is cool. But I usually work for other people, so. But yeah, hey, look, I'm doing all sorts of things, right? That's what you gotta do. Clamming, fly tying, YouTube, streaming. But I will say, I've been having a lot of fun fly tying. I really enjoy it. I took almost a little break from fly tying for a living a couple years ago. And I was still doing it, but not to, before that, prior, that's what I was doing to pay all my bills was fly tying. So now I like clam and I do some other stuff. But now I also have YouTube, and YouTube's great. I'm not like able to fully pay my bills, but it helps, and, so to work in this sort of line of industry, unless you have like own a restaurant, which you find a lot of like famous fly tyers, like Bob Popovic's, rest his soul, had a restaurant. Squimpish Fly is the owner, who now is a fly tying material. He is a chef, owns a restaurant. So you have to multitask because you're not just going to be able to make a living generally tying flies. Unless you're charging $100 flies and you're tying personally for like rich Manhattan socialites. You know what I mean? But I'm the working man's fly tyer. You go to a fly shop, hey man, those deceivers look pretty good. And you're like, that's an LI Flies mic deceiver. Guy who just got off work, bought himself a 12-pack of White Claws, and wants to get a couple of deceivers to go fishing down at the inlet. That's me. I'm tying those flies. Quality, but not designer flies where you gotta, drive an Audi to afford them. So that being said, you can get your working man flies from Angler's Marketplace. I have my Angler's Marketplace store. I haven't been promoting it because I only have 12 surf candies. I did a test post. I got 12 sand eel surf candies I tied last season up there, $9.50 a pop. I'm going to be uploading a good amount of flies to there, flies that I don't tie for shops because I don't want to tie flies that I tie for shops, It's kind of bad business, or at least the exact versions. Do my own versions of my flies and stuff. But yeah, so if you do want to support the stream and buy some LI flies, striper flies, you can check out Angler's Marketplace. It's in the description of my, I don't think it's on this of my live stream because again I'm not fully promoting it, but soon I'm gonna have some flies up there, a good amount. So I'll let you guys know when that's the case. Because people are like, oh, where do you, and I'm like, okay, go here, go there. I tie for different places, you know, but I don't have a website or anything at the moment. But yeah, the Anglers Marketplace seems nice. The people that run it, they seem very nice. Seems like a nice place, and it seems like a good setup. So we'll try it out. And if you have flies and you want to sell them, you could sell them there as well, or lures. You know, you want to make leaders, things like that. It's that sort of place. So you could always do it yourself, because I know a lot of folks in our Discord and that have watched me over the years have gotten into tying flies for fly shops, things like that, or for customers, you know, on Instagram. So if you don't want to go through the hassle of like running a website, because I've been there and it was so expensive, that's one of the reasons I had to stop, you know. When I started, Wix had websites for like $100 and something, and then they were like, all right, we're going to start charging you like $400 and something a year. And I'm like, ooh. And I wasn't doing as much fly tying, so I was like, all right. Let's scale this back a little. I definitely am going to have a website in the future. But for now, you know, it's good to have options. And I'll probably still have Anglers Marketplace. But in the future, I'm 100% going to have a website. And I want it to be right, you know, be good. So I'm going to wait till I'm at a place to where I'm ready for that. And then I'll do that. But I will have a... I'm going to do it right, so I'll have a website again eventually. But for now, I got a lot of stuff to do. I got a lot. So we'll focus on that, including finishing these, which we have 2 more tails. How is it taking me this long to do this one tail? What I should do is we should do dedicated commercial fly tying streams where I just play music and it's ASMR. I like put tape over my mouth and I just tie the flies. And then I could probably bang out like 24 flies on stream. Otherwise, I'm going to be honest with you, it just start flapping my gums. I can't help it. I'm a natural gum flapper. If you've been watching the stream for years, you know it. Guilty as charged. But that's okay. I also don't need to... what I'm going to do here is once I shut the stream off, I'm just going to either put on some YouTube video or put on some music and just put my head down and, you know, stare at this Regal for the next... well, until I fall asleep, essentially. Because I kind of get in the zone, you know? You kind of have to, like... It's one of the reasons why, this is if you really want to get artsy-fartsy and hippie, which, if you saw me in high school, I had a ponytail, so yeah. Sometimes I get kind of artsy-fartsy with it. The joy of fly fishing and fly tying is that, you know, it's very, like, zen or meditation-like, you know? Same thing with fly casting. So you kind of, like, when you really start tying flies and getting into it, it's just like anything, if you're at work and let's say you're really focusing on something, you kind of get into the zone, just like that. But I'd say with fly tying, you know, it's easy to just put on some music and you could just easily tie flies for like 3-4 hours. Like no problem. And I do this like every day, you know, but if you're doing it for fun, I mean, I'm sure you folks, like what are your tying sessions like? Do you usually tie one fly, or do you get into it and you start banging out flies and you're reading a book, watching videos? Like, what are your fly tying sessions like? I'm curious. There's probably a mix, right? If like the night before, maybe you tie one fly or you're going fishing. But what's your like routine when you go and tie flies for yourself? For all you folks in chat. I love when flies are promoted as hand-tied or hand... No, I don't think there is a machine that ties them. But there are flies nowadays that are essentially... You could have a machine do. You could have essentially just pre-made fly bodies out of, like, foam and whatnot. They have these sort of things, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like, Fly Skins has these new frog bodies. And I think you can just, like, slap that on the hook. Imagine if it was one piece. But yes, it's a there's a correct term for this. Is it a idiom or something? When it's like a redundant almost sort of thing, or it's like you're saying it just to say it. Is it what's the right word for that? I'm sure somebody in chat is much smarter than I. Is it a something with an I want to say. But yeah, hand-tied flies. Well, maybe there are people that tie flies with their feet. You ever think about that? Somebody lost their arms? Oxymoron? Is it an oxymoron? I feel like there's a word. Is it an idiom or something? There might be another word for it. But yeah, oxymoron is the correct term, I'm sure. What do you call it? I'm pretty certain somebody has tied flies with their feet. So there you go. That's why it says hand tied. Get wrecked. I've seen a guy like do carpentry work with his feet on YouTube in somewhere in like South Asia or somewhere like that, right? So there's got to be a dude tying flies with his feet. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's a little ridiculous. Hey, look, people are just trying to sell their flies, Jin. You're going to get all hypercritical because they say it's hand-tied in the USA or something. Let them get all patriotic about their fly tying. All right? Let them tie flies with their feet. That's a t-shirt right there. Let them tie flies with their feet. It's like a foot sticking out, like turning into a fist. Yep. So you've reached the 2-hour mark. I'm starting to get to the point in streaming where you get like a little, you start losing your brain cells. The guy who built my deck had no legs. All right. I guess that's probably more useful for deck building. Because as I'm sure a well-accomplished craftsman with no arms can build a deck, it probably is more efficient for somebody with no legs to do it. But that's an interesting fact. I like how it tied into what we were talking about. Hey, if the guy builds a good deck, I don't care how many limbs he has. You know what I mean? I'm paying him. Did a good job. I don't care if he's like an X-Men, and he's just floating around, like moving the wood with his mind and the nails. I'll pay him a fair wage if he does a good job. Matt? I don't know. Who's Matt? What's going on, Jake Finn? Is that the guy who built Jin's deck? Was it Matt? Are you the guy that built his deck, Jake? Or are you did you build it with Matt? What's going on? How you doing? Lost them in a foolish act as a kid to a train. Now that's terrifying. I specifically had to sit. Oh, the carpenter with no legs. Was the guy's name Matt? Jin. This is what Jake is asking on YouTube. Small world. I mean, there's probably only a handful of New England carpenters with no legs that can actually build a sturdy deck. Like whether they have legs or not, it's hard to build a really good deck. No? Okay. Wasn't Matt. You know how many school meetings we had to sit through about not playing on train tracks? And it was because there was an alarming amount of kids in the 90s and 80s and 70s, especially in Britain, that got hurt like playing around train tracks. But I had to sit through so many of these school presentations where it's like they're like actors and they're like adults and they're acting like kids, like, hey, we should go down to the train, and they're like, no, and they get like run over and it's like playing music, and then it shows us videos of like kids getting hit by trains. Don't do this. Things like that, you know what I mean? Like classic 90s, like almost think about the anti-drug things. Like people would come and do like performative dances about not doing drugs, like weird. This was like the 90s and 2000s. There was a lot of weird. Like now that I think of it, I remember seeing there was like a, how like you think of like interpretive dance, like the Key and Peele skit where they're kicking each other in the balls, and there's like that white canvas behind them that you can change colors. That we saw like literally something like that, but it was about not doing drugs, and it was like interpretive art I don't even know. It was like a show. I couldn't even tell you. I fell asleep with it. But like that was the sort of stuff that we were forced to watch in the 90s and 2000s. At least in Long Island, I could tell you. Somebody was getting paid to come to the school and put on that thing, but I saw a lot of train ones specifically. So when you tell me that, yeah. And we used to walk on train tracks, you know, every kid did. I like to think probably or at least back when we grew up, but you also I wouldn't be like putting stuff on train tracks and stuff like that. Like I was smart enough like nope, we ain't doing that. So you put the coins on the tracks and threw rocks at the trains? Nope, we ain't doing that. I'll tell you a story right now. I had my friends, there were so many abandoned buildings and like any teenagers, you go with skateboarding back in the 2000s, we'd ride around and go hang out and, you know, check out these places, you know, that are all like condos nowadays. And my buddies find an Elmo doll. And so, of course, I was the sane one, right? I was like, guys, we shouldn't do this. They were all like, woo, yeah, let's light the Elmo doll on fire. So they light it on fire, and it's like, I'm Elmo. It's like still talking. And then they're kicking it up in the air. And we're right next to train tracks. And they're kicking this Elmo doll that is engulfed in flames. And as they kick it, the flames grow higher and larger. It's like a flaming Elmo doll. They're kicking it up in the air like it's a soccer ball, like 15 feet in the air. And a train goes by and stops and calls the fire department. And there's all this stuff's going on. I left the second the train stopped. I was like, all right, I'm out. I just started running. Skateboarding. I went to the gas station. I was like, see ya. Left. They all like had to hide in the woods overnight, you know, and this is just like, I was like, guys, we shouldn't do this. And I would just leave, you know. I was the smart one, you know. Not as adventurous, but, you know, that's okay, right? But, you know, I love to think of that time where my buddy Eddie and Victor were kicking that flaming Elmo doll, and it was like still talking while it was on fire. Like I could vividly remember it in my head. It was crazy. I'm replacing a flight control stick because I got a raise before I left for India, and I feel obligated. Well, there you go. Patriotic, Craggerl, if you ask me. You know, everybody, when they're playing Microsoft Air Simulator, you know, you don't want to have faulty equipment. So. Bunker up there yet? They just started to show up here in the bay by me. Yo, Jay, what's going on? I should show you guys the haul Jay gave me, but Jay literally robbed a wig store. I think literally. I don't know how you could have gotten all this. So literally robbed a wig store. I'm going on record saying that. And sent me a bunch of awesome wig material and wig hairs. And so we're going to be like set to go on tying bunker flies for some videos. But I'm not certain. I haven't seen any bunker. I did see some bald eagles locally in my creek. I've never seen bald eagles there in the spring, so I'm assuming they're looking for bunker. So I'll let you know when I see them, but I think it's still a little early. I'm going to be honest with you. I usually start seeing them in April or like maybe late March, but I'm going to be honest with you. If they start bunker fishing, I'm not bunker fishing this spring. I'll tell you right now. I have 300 to 400 rooster fish flies, let alone local stuff I have to do. There's, you know, I'm booked. I'm booked, baby. I'll go fly fishing for striped bass under bunker. I'll take time for that, though. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, you put the coins on the tracks, Jake. Mm-hmm. I just would always picture that the coins would fly off and hit me in the head and like assassinate me. You know what I mean? Like you just fall over. Because they showed us all those videos in the 90s of like the like worst possibility of messing around trains. So you know what? It probably did me good. I have a bad back. Even when I was younger, I have a bad back. You know, so I was that kid that's like, I don't know, guys. I don't know if we should be lighting Elmo dolls on fire. So it probably worked out, you know, but who knows? Like a hubcap. Oof. You're not saying that the pennies would be squished down, right, to that size. That's an exaggeration. Are you talking about a hubcap flying off and beheading you? That seems realistic. Good old Buick hubcap. You ever seen one of those suckers fly off at 60 miles an hour? Mm-hmm. But thank you again, Jay. I sent a photo of all the wig material to Mark Sedati. Oh, interesting. He's like some of them look different from each other. I'm like, yeah. Oh, well, you're gonna have to send me some of those. I'm gonna have to try it. And who sent you those? He was immediately like, what's going on here? What? Like, that's better wigs than I had. What is this? I was like, don't worry, I got you. It was just so funny, though. You know what I'm going to say? And this is completely... I don't think Mark cares two bits. I love talking about him. And I tell him this all the time. I'm pretty certain I told him he's the Bob Ross of fly tying. Not Mike Ross. Mark Sedati was the inspiration for Mike Ross. He's just the way he approaches it. He's like Bob Ross. And he's so nice. But, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, Mark Sedati reminds me of Jeff Goldblum. You know how Jeff Goldblum? Oh, yeah, yes. Like that. And I love that about Jeff Goldblum. Mark Sedati has that sort of cadence at times. And I love it about him. It's so funny. But he's like, when we were fishing, he's like, you gotta fish, like saying it. And it just reminded me of Jeff Goldblum for some reason. And I was like just laughing the other day while we were fishing. Anyways, you could tell I'm like a child about Mark Sedati because he literally is like an inspiration to me. You know what I mean? So I got to see him as a little kid tying some of his first ever synthetic slammers, you know, and it's like it had a huge, it can't be understated for kids how large of an impact like going to a fly show and meeting somebody that's in a very nice, just amazing fly tire, gives you a fly, sits down, explains things. Like that had a huge impact in my life, you know. Different people that I got to meet over the years going to shows and stuff. And Mark was always so nice. He would give me flies and stuff because I was a kid, you know. He didn't know me after all these years. But I tell him this stuff and he gets he laughs at it, you know, like in an endearing way. But yeah, I love Mark Sedati. He's an awesome dude. I look up to him. He's a legend. And we're going to definitely make some videos on him in the future because if people don't know Mark Sedati, then they got another thing coming. You know what I mean? I'm just going to let you know. Is a legend. I'm telling you, when I make the video, Jay, he was the first guy that was truly making large flies for striped bass with the intent of actually catching big fish. You know what I mean? So, like, people were tying cotton candy flies and all these things, and Popovic's had a big fly. But when it comes to tying a fly with a lead keel that could actually sink down to 90 foot of water off Block Island to where you could get in front of 50-pound striped bass, and they'll eat it. That, you know, and to do that in the 80s, you know, and 90s, I got to ask him, you know, I don't know when he developed the slammer. I couldn't even tell you. But talking to him, you know, not really anybody was doing that sort of thing. So that's why I want to make these videos because a lot of younger folks and people that got into it, you know, this maybe in the past couple of years, they don't know this stuff. So, like, I'm learning too, like, about Bill Catherwood, about his, like, Mark didn't even know the fact that he revolutionized umbrella rig fishing, you know, which is probably one of the most popular ways people fish on charter boats and for big striped bass. One of the most effective ways to catch large striped bass while trolling. So, very interesting stuff. I gotta say, I was a little burnt out on fly tying and fly fishing after doing it for a living, essentially fly tying for so many years and just doing that. It's nice to do other things like clamming and make videos and stuff. The making videos has been a nice breath of fresh air because I'm like going back to things that I learned as a kid and relearning them and, you know, getting excited about Bill Catherwood giant killer flies and all that. So it's been nice. It's because I definitely got burnt out on just commercial fly tying for 6-7 years and doing nothing else. It really, it could be a lot, you know what I mean? Yeah, so I rant and rave about Mark Sedati as a fly tyer. I don't rant and rave about Mark Sedati as a fly caster enough. Again, I'll show you 12-inch slammer. This is a Mark Sedati fly made out of wigs he gave me for, because he knows I collect his flies. If I'll show you, there is 0.035 lead wire wrapped this wide to create a wider platform. Then there is 5 pieces of a half an inch 0.035 wire tied in, 5 pieces, what's the right word? Oh, what's that word I'm thinking of? With an A. Abreast. I'm sorry. As Mark said, abreast. 5 pieces abreast and 3 layers. So I don't know. I'm going to weigh it. I want to weigh it. Before I tie one of these, I want to weigh with my little scale that I've had for a ton of time. I wonder what I use that for, you know? And that, what do you call it? Just to see how much weight is on here. Because I'm curious what's the like ounces of how much weight is on here, or grams of lead wire. But this is 12 inches, and look how much material's on here. Good amount. But I watched him catch like a 20-something pound bass off Block Island on this fly, so it's pretty unbelievable. And the whole reason I wanted to tell you this, his fly casting. So he broke his record at the Fly Expo that we just had recently. He casted this 150 feet on a 5-weight rod with a floating line. A 5-weight rod, trout line, right? And he he casted it. He told me, he came up to me while I was like, Mark, how's it going? How's the show going? And he goes, I just broke my record. He goes, I just casted a 12-inch slammer 150 feet with a 5-weight. And I was like, what? Because I personally watched him cast about 120 or 130 feet back in like 2001 at the Somerset, New Jersey show. But yeah, he's considered all around one of the like top saltwater fly casting instructors, and he goes all around the country and does seminars. So I don't talk about that enough because I'm a fly addict. But yeah, he's considered to be like one of the best saltwater fly casting instructors in the world. So ask him what lines he uses back then to get the flies that deep. I'm gonna be honest with you, Jen. I think he made his own sink things. I don't even think he had just straight lead wire, if I'm not wrong, the last time we fished. Like one of my buddies made these using trolling wire. Like for like offshore fishing, you can get trolling wire and it's super thick, like coated, and it's literally just like, I don't know how many grains per inch. But it's like super, super fast sinking. You put loops on the end, and you put that on your backing, or you put that on mono, and you fish like that. I'll ask Mark specifically, because I'm going to tell you right now, the majority of the fishing that we do in this sort of thing off Montauk, Block Island, you're not casting 70 feet. Now, he casts 130 feet just to show you the importance of weight balance. When we're actually fishing, we flip the fly 10 feet away from the boat, and we feed the line out with our 500 grain, 600 grain sink tips because we're drifting off Block Island. It's moving extremely fast. Like we have to get the fly down to at least 60 foot to, if not 80 to 90 feet. And it's going to be only a 5-minute drift. So if we spend 3 minutes getting the fly down there, then you're going to miss all the fish. So it's really important to have fast sinking flies and have ultra fast sinking tips. I think I'm using a 400 or 350 grain 10 weight reel line. It worked. It wasn't the best. So I want to make probably with the trolling wire, make like a super fast sinking line. I also have a blue water tuna line, 13, 14 weight sailfish line that sinks incredibly fast, but it also has all that weight just to cast billfish flies. So I'll see, but I think, I'm going to be honest with you, I think a lot of them make their own custom sink tips and stuff. I think the YouTube content is good, very cool. Are you talking about my YouTube content? Well, thank you, Super, if that's the case. How you doing, brother? You tied your first fly with him. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. My first fly I ever tied was in Manhattan in Orvis. I don't know who was working there, some really nice guy, and he taught me how to tie a Clouser minnow. I will say I tied a fly with vice grips and like blue jay feathers that my cat probably killed back And but it wasn't like an actual fly. It was me just putting like bird feathers on a hook with sewing thread. I guess you could say it was a fly. I wish I kept that. That was the start of greatness. But that's a joke, by the way. But the first ever fly I tied was in Manhattan, Orvis, back in like 1999 or 98 or something. Bought a Dynavice, so those cheap plastic vices for like $90 that are really good. And he taught me how to tie a Clouser minnow, and that was it. Yo, Infinite, what's up? How you doing? I'm gonna add a little bit more tan on top, just to even it out. All right, well, it's interesting. Thought for a sec unless most of the time he's pretty good at texting me early, so I might not be working tomorrow. I don't know. Tell you what, if I'm not working tomorrow, I'm playing Warhammer. You know what I'm talking about? I got Emperor's Children ready to go. Because pretty soon I'm going to be so freaking busy. I'm never going to be able to go play some Warhammer with my buddy Rev. Now that I say that, I'm probably going to have to work tomorrow, but get my nerd on. Woolly Bugger was the fly. Pretty sure I still have it somewhere 25 years ago. You know, I'll tell you this about Mark. He is one of the most obsessed fishermen I've ever met. And like, maybe you're like this. I'm not that obsessed to that level. I've met many people. Most people will fish. Not everybody wants to stay up all night and fish and then go back out again the next day. If the fishing's good, right? You know, and they're that dedicated. Mark is like that sort of person. He also will not hesitate to pick up a spinning rod if he thinks he's going to have a better chance to catch fish. I'm straight up like a purist. Not like a snob, but I'm just so addicted to fly fishing, I'd rather catch them on the fly. But Mark doesn't care. He just wants to fish and catch big fish. And he is like, the whole time we're fishing, he's not fooling around. He's just straight up fishing. We're not like, you know, chit-chatting and this and that. It's like head down and I'm catching a fish. So he's like one of those sorts of people. And it's so saltwater, freshwater, it doesn't matter. He is just all around. So when you just said woolly bugger, it just makes me think he was fishing rabbit strip jiggies, but he's just a hardcore fisherman. And that's one of the things I love about him. And those are the people that you got to spend time with and listen to every single thing they say, because they're that into it that they treat it like an art. Like when you approach fishing a jig off a boat in Montauk, he's telling me like, oh, it's all this stuff. And he's like, how he learned from these people and this and that. And it sounds like an artist. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound like somebody who just wants to go fishing. Because I don't talk about it like, maybe I sound like that with fly fishing at times, but you know, if it's getting cold and I've been out there for 4 hours, I'm like, dude, let's go get let's go get a beer or something, you know? I have some teeny grain lines that I'll use to get down in the current. So what grain are they? What weight? I think you generally need for like this serious, like this sort of fishing I'm talking about, you probably need 550, 600 grain, like minimum, I think. Which I don't even think I've owned a line that heavy. Have you ever tied with dragon tails, like the ones for pike flies? We've done it once or twice. JC Jeffy, my buddy, gave me a couple from the local fly shop. He said, dude, try these. These are like so cool. And I was like, puh, ha, indicators, dragon tails, puh, mop flies. And this is like as a joke, because particularly at the time, we had the bobbin indicator smash. And it was like a running joke that I hate mop flies, squirmy wormies, fishing with indicators. So like dragon tails to me are like, you know, a pre-made thing that you just slap it on there. I will say they're pretty cool. I don't like fishing them. It's essentially just chenille. You can make them. I'll show you. Where is it? You can go down to the craft store. Now, I don't know what they do if they make them like, I've only messed with them a couple times. They are kind of stiffer in the so I don't know how they get them. Maybe you could apply something. You could find like some really massive pipe cleaner like this, and you can like either trim it or use a lighter and like burn it. Burn the ends and you're pretty much like you almost have a dragon tail. Essentially, it's like a piece of chenille that dangles off the back. So I was like never into these sort of flies because people had done stuff like that. Even though the dragon tail is wider cut, it's like burned down and tapered to have a certain size to it. I'm like, I like putting feathers and stuff. There's nothing wrong with them, but it's like there's like a certain line when it comes to like I'm not a fan of putting those like pre-made fish heads that you slip on there. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know. It's just the way I'm like kind of old school when it comes to that, like an old man. Like, I don't want those damn dragon tails. You know what I mean? I think they're really cool though, you know. But I did fish a couple. Um, it's I'd say like compared to like how I normally tie my tails and stuff, it was a little heavier uh in terms of like water, and retaining water than I wanted it to. Like I think if you're fishing particularly for like pike or muskie, it's like fishing those giant dragon tails are fine, but when it's super super windy out and I'm casting like 80 feet and I'm search fishing like on an open beach, it's just like I don't know, I don't like that sort of material on a fly. But I do think they're sick. I know Jay's talking about he uses them on cinderworm flies and they work really good. So, but all jokes aside, I think they're pretty cool. I just don't use them. I've tied with them once or twice on stream just so we could test it out. But we were so into the memes back then of hating on mop flies that I think we were just memeing those. They were cool. I fished a couple. But I don't know, like that sort of stuff doesn't really interest me as a fly tyer. You know what I mean? I'm super into like the Kenny Abrams and the David Nelson squimpish, and like that's like a very super modern style of fly tying where it's like pre-made bodies and tails and things like that. I'm just, I was fly tying before that, and I just when that sort of stuff came around, it never really caught my attention personally. But any comments on double-handed rods on the beach? Yeah, if you can cast them, then you should probably use them more than single-hand rods. Single-hand rods, I'm way more comfortable with. Two-hand rods, I'll tell you this. If you find this is my personal experience with switch rods and spey rods for saltwater fishing, because most of the time you want to fish it like a switch rod, two-handed. Oh, dude. You want to fish it two-handed. You're not trying to fish a two-handed rod single-handed. Even though you can with a switch, you're going to throw your shoulder out. So, while I suck on this bobbin. So there are times that I've had setups, like I had a 10.5-foot switch rod, 11-foot switch rod, I have a 14-something spey, and I had like a line, and it casted so good. I could pick it up, and with two-hand setup, one back cast, and I was launching at 100 feet, and I was like, dude. And so I changed the line, and I just couldn't get the rod to cast right. So personally, like it's a matter of getting it set up, and I have some of them that are set up really good, but I just like I still struggle. If the wind's at my back or it's at the right side, I could do so well. If the wind's in my face, like I really struggle with two-hand casting. I probably need to like see somebody with two-hand casting, but I'm so efficient with a single-hand rod. Like I've fished them for so long that like fast action overlined 10 weight on a 9 weight rod, I like picking it up once or twice and just sending it. That's how I usually cast. I don't do a lot of false casting with single hand rods, like I'm trout fishing or something. I pick it up and I send it, you know what I mean? And I let the weight of the line do like the majority of the work. I just load the rod and I just boop, right angle, and then it just goes. So I'm so comfortable with single hand. I need to get better with two hand casting. But what are your guys' personal experience? Can you just like, for me, it seems like if I don't have the exact perfect line and like balance on the rod, I just can't cast it. And it's probably due to my casting ability as well. But it seems like really having a properly like matched line to your two-hand setup is imperative for it fishing right. Now, what do you guys think? Because that's my personal opinion, and I don't fish them all the time. I actually have some beautiful two-hand rods, and I just don't fish them because I'm just not as good. If the wind's at my back, I'll burn them because I can send it 130 feet, no problem. But if the wind's at the wrong angle, I need to use a single-hand rod so I can turn my arm, like lefty cray, and not hit myself in the back of the head with a 4-aught hook. You know what I mean? So I'm curious, what's your folks' opinion on two-handers, and like maybe I'm just doing it wrong, or maybe is the line setup that important? I mean, I guess you could say that in general. I think Gunnar Brammer just talked about it recently, how really having a good fly line is more important than a rod or reel. And we've talked about this many times. The first thing that somebody comes in and they tell me I have a hard time fly casting, I ask them, what fly line do they have? You could have a Walmart rod, doesn't matter. If you have a cheap fly line on a good rod, you will not be able to cast it. And that's just how it works, because the line is what's getting it out there. You need the right head and the right weight. So I should probably watch that Gunner. I don't know if he did a podcast or something, but I saw he promoted it on Instagram or something just recently. But I mean, you've heard me say it before, so it's good to hear it from him, because he's an amazing fly caster, Gunner, and the line really is more important, I think, than anything else. I want to start, but I use Rio OBS outbound short on my single hand rods. Dialing in the right line can be tricky. There's a guy who will make an integrated intermediate line specifically. So it does seem like two-hand rods, it does seem like the line is very important, which we could say for any fishing, but I feel like it's more so for two-hand fishing than single-hand. You can give me a Rio, you can give me a Cortland. If it's got enough grain, I can cast it on a single-hand rod. Some are better than others, right? But there are times where I can't even cast a two-hander. I'm like, dude, this line should be right, but it just doesn't feel right. Maybe the head layout, maybe the weight, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Mark knows Gunner. He told me, and he said personally, he was like, Gunner is an amazing fly caster. So if Mark Sedati calls you an amazing fly caster, then those are high praise. So it gave me even more respect for Gunnar Brammer talking to Mark. I mean, he's a very talented. I mean, you should definitely check out his YouTube if you're not. He's a fantastic. He makes fantastic content. An amazing fly tire, but. All right. Let's go ahead and finish this last tail. Damn, look at that. Time's flying by. 2.5 hours already. We've been chit-chatting. It's nice. We got, you know what it is? It also doesn't get dark as early nowadays, so I think mentally it's just like, oh, okay, yeah. I haven't been streaming for 13 hours, even though I only stream like 2 hours. I'm like, I've been inside for days. Scandi lines are the best for two-handed overhead casting? Yeah. Scandinavian lines. Yeah, I don't know. There's people out there, and this is why there are people out there that make a living giving seminars on two-hand casting and stuff like that. So, I don't know their names exactly, but I've met people like that. I've never been to one, but there are people in the industry. I forgot. There's one dude I know specifically that does it for Saltwater, and he teaches it. I forgot the guy's name. But I think I've met him before. I don't remember, at a fly show maybe, but... my buddy Yo, It's Okay, my mod and longtime good friend, I taught him how to fly fish. Guess what? He only two-hand fishes. Doesn't single-hand. And I'm like, good luck. You picked one of the hardest ways to do it, in my opinion, compared to single-hand fishing. But he does a good job. He's learning. He's getting better at it, too. But I thought it was so funny. He comes from the world of surf fishing and stuff, and he just found the two-hand rod to be better than a single and more comfortable from somebody who fishes conventional tackle, like conventional bait casting reels, but like a surf caster, like they do in North Carolina, where they fish the reels upside down. You know what I'm talking about? They fish them backwards down there. Not many people fish bait casters. That's how people used to fish in Montauk back in the 20s and 30s and things like that. They didn't have spinning reels. Nowadays we have high-tech spinning reels like, oh my God, I almost forgot the name, Van Stahl. You can tell I'm a fly fisherman and I live in the Northeast when I almost forgot the name Van Stahl. Okay, if you don't know the name Van Stahl, then you don't fish for striped bass probably, because every surf casting dude out there with an aqua sport bag and a wetsuit probably has a Van Stahl, and it probably needs maintenance. No. Oh, good. I say that because the kid I work with, he's like bought the Van Stall and like kept getting like clogged with sand and this and that. He was like cursing at it. I'm like, you should have just bought a pen, dude. I have pens from like I bought at Sports Authority in the 1990s that I left outside for 20 years and we can go fish with it. You know what I mean? Not that there's anything wrong with Van Stalls, but I know for a fact the person who owned a Van Stall started his own reel company later on. So it changed hands, and that's when like the golden age of Van Stall. And I used to be into surf casting. Thank God I'm not a channel on surf casting because, I'd be ranting and raving about that. But yep, nothing wrong with a good pen slammer or something, you know? Van Stalls are good too. But, I don't know. I'm not an expensive fishing person. I don't want to spend $1,000 on a reel. I don't think that's financially responsible. I think if you buy just a good quality reel made in America, it'll just last a while if you take care of it. It doesn't need to be $1,000. There's a lot of good options out there. A lot of my stuff I bought back in the 90s when it was under $500, for a nice Ross reel or something. But yeah, I'm not a fancy. Give me a discount TFO or Rise $100-something rod because there's a good chance I'm gonna break it. I might take it on the bunker boat. I might take it in the clam boat, and we drop a clam rake on it. I'm not buying a Thomas and Thomas. So I'm definitely a budget fly fisherman. That being said, there is something to be said to buying something that's quality, right? You don't want to have to buy junk over and over again. I've also bought junk a lot, and it lasts 1 year in the salt, and then it's completely trashed, like pot metal reels. So getting something quality is worth it. But there is something to be said with these $150 TFO and Rise rods that are just so good. Like, you don't have to spend, oh my God, dude, you can tell I'm getting passionate about these discount rods. So good. You don't have to spend $1,000, $500 on a fly rod. I'm going to tell you right now, the Lefty Cray TFO series is what I've just fished for years. And I want to fish more Rise rods as well. I fished one before, it was fantastic. I broke it because I hit it with a freaking half and half at 50 miles an hour, which I broke so many rods doing. It's one of the reasons why you don't see me fish a lot of weighted flies like half and halves and clousers. You hit a rod in northeast winds with that fly and you will break the rod. It's not going to break that day, but it'll break a week, 2 weeks later. Oh my God. I hate mono for this exact reason. It's hard to get through there, but I probably broke like 5 rods in my life from really hard impacts mid-cast. And I mean, you can tell because you could just hear it. You're like, oh no, that's not good. One time, the Rise one, I hit it with like a half and half in like 50-mile-per-hour winds, chuck and duck. And just, I heard the sound like, whoosh, and you could see the dent on the rod. I'm like, oh no. And then I went up steelheading and hooked a steelhead and it snapped. I'm like, that's not the rod's fault because I know for a fact I hit it probably going like 1,000 miles an hour with like an eighth of an ounce, Now you have a couple TFOs. You love the warranties. Look, I'll always rant and rave about TFOs. The Lefty Cray series, God bless his soul. Lefty Cray left us. He developed that rod, and he had rods. He developed Bob Clouser and Flip Pallet, I believe, as well. Helped develop some of those TFOs, if I'm not wrong, in the 2000s. I've been using them since I was a kid, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even do the warranties. I'll just buy a new rod sometimes. I should probably be warrantying them because apparently they'll just fix it. I'm going to be honest, sometimes I can't be bothered. I just go get a new rod. It's $100. I trade a couple dozen flies, got a new rod, bada bing, bada boom. Lasts me another 2 years till I'm fighting a cocktail bluefish and I high stick it and I break it because I'm being an idiot. And guess what? I'm not going to cry over it. One day I'll just send in 20 TFOs and get 20 rods back, easy. Or 20 tips. You know what I'm talking about? Playing the long game. But, yeah, I love TFOs. Fantastic rods. Can't rave about them enough. It's literally a 9-weight fly rod for like $160. Are you kidding me? That's what I use. If you see me fly fishing, other than if it's not a red rod, If it's a red rod, then it's a Wolfram custom rod, which is beautiful as well, and I love. But I'm telling you right now, $100 and something for a fly rod nowadays. I'm surprised that they still can charge like 160, 170 for that rod. It's so good. Not the fastest action, but guess what? I like a little bend in my rod. It's not even medium fast. It's still fast action. I would say most fly rods nowadays that are single-handed are so much more fast action than the rods that we had in the 90s and stuff. You know, I remember when Orvis was like, the ultra fast action sticks, lightweight. And like, you would laugh at it nowadays. It's probably so much heavier than the stuff we have now, but remember those Orvis catalogs? They were talking about the action on them. The rods nowadays are so stiff, so you could chuck giant flies and just heavy lines and not throw your shoulder out. Like, it's like a luxury nowadays compared to trying to, you know, navigate. I will say, like, back in the day, Scientific Anglers, like, was the line. Orvis had really good lines as well. I think Orvis was actually known for, like, having... I liked their lines back in late 90s, 2000s. I did like them. But if you knew the Scientific Anglers, dude, like, they had the artwork of, like, the striped bass on the striper box eating something. It was, like, painting. Oh, my God. I love that stuff. They had the redfish line, the bonefish line, the tarpon line, the striper line, the streamer line. Those are still some of my favorite lines of all time, are the old Scientific Angler series with the cool painting on the art box. Still, I love the art on that striped bass one. I think it was the Striper Streamer series, I want to say, with the sink tip. One of my fastest sinking lines ever, too. You could break a rod casting that line. Like, if you took a 5-weight and casted that Striper Streamer line, or the Streamer Express, that's what it was called. Let's see if we can find a photo. I want to see it. The Streamer Express. It was like 500 and something grains or something, I think, the head. It was crazy. I want to find the old artwork. Let me see. Scientific Anglers. Art, maybe? See, it's all the new stuff. I want to see the 90s and 2000s. Like, where's the box? Streamer Express box. No, it's all the new stuff. Ah! Yes, this is kind of like it, the Mastery series. This is, it's so hard to see, but this is similar. This isn't the exact one. I wish we could see the old, it was from like the 2000s. I'm sure maybe somewhere you could find it. It kind of looked like that. It was like a painting, like a watercolor maybe or something, or oil. These are their boring new. I mean, look how boring that box is compared to. I wish I could show you the old ones. They were so cool. I don't know how to look it up. Like, Google it. Maybe if someone could find it, post it in the Discord. Yeah. If you're an old flyhead like me, and I say old flyhead, I'm only 34, but look, I'm getting up there. This is in the 90s, 2000s. If you remember what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. Those artwork that they used to have was some of my favorite, because I used to get Cabela's. Cabela's had like a fly fishing magazine, or they had a fly fishing section. Orvis would send you a catalog, and it was awesome, dude. I love that stuff. All right, we got our tails done. Let's go. We should tie one of these and finish them. And we'll say we've almost been streaming for 3 hours, so you know what? Yeah, we're definitely due for a hookah lounge break here. So let's go ahead and let's see, what do we got here? I don't have my new swim tank video set up yet, unfortunately. Steve Godshall is the guy to call if you want a custom 2-hand overhead fly line to match your rod. All right, there you go. If anyone's watching and they, or you're watching this on YouTube later down the line, look him up. Steve Godshall. Godshall. It's spelled like God shall. There you go. Make you some custom lines. All right. Yeah, we got this break video. It's shorter, so I'm going to have to be quick. Chat, I'm just going to go run real quick and use the restroom, grab a seltzer. We've been streaming for almost 3 hours. I like to at least every hour, maybe hour and a half, get up and just stretch around. I got a bad back, so it's good to get up, just move around. You don't want to be sitting around too long, right? Time flies. I don't want to be sitting around all day. So we're just going to get up, take a quick break, and we'll be back here in just a moment. All right? Boop. Damn, I was a little late, but I got there. All right. Okay. Oh, my Twitch is on. Just real quick. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this fly. It's good. My camera hasn't overheated yet. It's when I have it in 1080p, it's fun. When I film in 4K, I can only film for about 40 minutes and the camera starts overheating. All right. So, we need to essentially do this from scratch, but we're just going to take some EP fiber and blend it. Let's do this. Or not blend it, but we're just going to cut it down and to the appropriate size. Don't need to overthink it. Very simple. Just doing some V-ties. Take that, cut that down. We'll get a couple different sizes set up. We'll leave that as a longer side. Got some shorter material here, which I'll probably just trim to make it easier for myself, because I'm going to be tying a lot of these tonight. Which, if we look at the length of that, I'm going to go something like, probably like this. And then we should go for something a little shorter for the front, like that. We have a couple different sizes, some long stuff, some short stuff. Now I have to try and wrestle this back in there. Which, let's see if we can do this better. I used to do it like this. Let's see if this works, because EP fiber can be tricky. I'm not going to lie. Let's see if we just cut. This is how I use it with Flashaboo. I forget if it works for EP fiber, so let's try it to keep it nice and neat. Let's do it down here so we have more control, I guess. I'm just going to cut essentially an opening. And then what we could do is with the scissors, take a bunch out. Trying to not have it get too... I guess I should pinch it. That's how you do it. And it's still kind of pulling the rest out. I was curious if that would work better or not, but let's just get all this out so I have less of a mess. It's not as bad, I guess. How do you guys take your EP fiber out? You just cut a corner and then pull out what's needed. Okay, we'll try that on the next one then. See, most of the time I'm tying so much, it doesn't matter. I end up going through like a freaking bag anyway, but... Okay. I'm just going to cut this. We don't need to worry about it. We're going to be doing a lot of this. Some of this is going to be longer, so I'll take a bunch out and just cut it in half. We can always trim as we see fit. And then we'll cut some shorter sizes, tapering down to different lengths. So we have some different sizes. I might save this for the smaller size. We'll see. Okay, so we have some different lengths. We'll put these to the side and let's start tying. Because we're not blending any flash. Attach a zip tie and throw the bag away. Hey, you know, that's an option. Certainly an option. For sure. Okay. Get our thread on there and let's start tying these. Very simple. We're V-tying. I did just watch the Johnny King's video as a refresher. Now, he uses Slinky fiber and Steve Farrar. I have some Steve Farrar fiber here. We're going to be tying, I'm sure I'm going to be streaming commercial fly tying here a lot. We have the Steve Farrar fiber here that's pre-blended with flash. And they were all saying no flash, but he ties it with some Slinky fiber here and there. So I'll be doing Slinky and the Steve Farrar fiber blends at some point. in the future. But right now we're doing EP fiber because this is how I've tied them in the past. And I gave the guy a couple flies and he's like, I love these. So I was like, all right, cool. You got it. Then this is what we're going to tie for you then. I don't think Johnny Keynes would be like, your fly sucks. He'd probably be like, yeah, that should work. Might swim a little different, but it should work. Okay. White. We're starting off pretty long here. Now, one thing we can do if we want, that Johnny Keynes recommends, and I think I have one because I've been using it for videos. Oh, where is it? Is a clip. One of these little stationary clips. Oh, dude, where is this? Oh, it's right on my base of my vise. Look at that. I'm a professional fly tire. Look at that. Watch out. Watch out now. See, it's just another thing I lose, so I don't use stuff like this a lot, but look at that. So now we're reducing the chances of dealing with all this stuff while we're fly tying. We're just going to... I'm going to trim this, but the least trimming, the better. Oh, dude. I got to get used to using mono. It takes a little period for me to get my breaking point figured out. Doesn't help the Guinness starts flowing, you know, it gets a little easier to break the mono. I'm so used to my 210 denier. When I tie with that, with so much, you know, I can put so much pressure on it. The mono, not as... I mean, you could put a lot. If you've ever seen me tie flies, I put a lot of pressure on my thread. Not all the time, but I'm just so used to it. I'm a big believer that it does affect the durability of flies. We do want the transition point to be fairly long. We can always trim, so we'll just do it like this. We only need 1 or 2 wraps here, by the way, and we want it even in the middle, so something like this. Flip it over. Get our tan, long hair, do the same. Just got a TNT from the Seasoned Stripers, but I love my TFO Axiom. Now look, my buddy fishes TNTs and I fish them. They are ultra light, so nice to cast, but they cost so much money. They're like $600-700, right? So there's nothing wrong with having a TNT, especially if you got it for free. Okay. But the TFOs are nice. Yeah, the Axioms are a great rod as well. I've never had an Axiom. I always used the Lefty Cray series because it's just I've used them for so long. But both are fantastic rods. I think we want anywhere from a pencil to 3/4 of a pencil width. I think we want a little bit more here on the belly. Now, Johnny King ties his with not a lot of room. He fills up the room on the gap. I'm doing EP fiber here, and I tied it slightly different. This is how I tie it. So I do have more room to fill, so I don't want to go too crazy. Because we know for a fact the ones I tied work perfectly fine. So get our ties even. And then we fold back the opposite way for the V-tie. Secure it down, and then we put some head cement on there. Oh, wish it was free. It was a display rod, but you got it on sale. Okay, very nice. Well, $300 is great. They're a very expensive rod. I'm sorry. I thought you got it in like a giveaway or something. Very cool. I'm a mono fan. I can even spin deer hair with it. You know what? It's just a matter of getting used to it, Jake. You know, I tie so much with the other stuff. Now, once I tie surf candies and I start getting in the groove, I stop breaking the thread as much because I'm just used to how much, like, look, I'm pulling the hook shank down. This is like kind of the upper echelon, right? I'm right on the edge of breaking the thread right now. I don't want to break it. There you go. See, I like to live my life on the edge, right? So I just got to find that breaking point and then I get used to it. It's like a feel. It's like being a mechanic and knowing how tight to tighten a bolt without stripping it or something. So I just got to get used to it after, because I just made the switch from the 210 denier and tying a bunch of flies commercially with that, so. Well, it's interesting how if you give someone a thread that they don't use all the time, it can be very uncomfortable at the start. Because we get very, I'd say, like, used to how the thread that you use all the time is, you know, how it feels, how it reacts to material. Because different threads react to material differently. That's a video right there. Jake, you just gave me an idea. Any tips on hollow flies? Probably have covered it in some of your videos. I have done some. I haven't done a video specifically on the hollow tie for bucktail. Mine are flaring out, especially at the end near the eyes. Even after running through the water, it looks like an umbrella. So, beast fly. Let's see if any of the collars are doing that. Now, I like to leave them pretty open, okay? This is what you want it to look like if you're tying like Andrew Warshaw. You don't want a serious taper on it because in the water, it's going to now look like this. Beautiful. I know what you're talking about. Like this one. Look, I would say maybe this might count as this happening. Not really, but I know what you're talking about. What happens is, I'll tell you what's happening. I'm trying to show you if there's one. Maybe this one here is a little too flared open. The thread slips. Your thread dam that is keeping the bucktail from flaring too far outwards and has the pressure has slipped forwards after it's gotten wet. The bucktail has pushed itself back out and now the thread has moved. So what you got to do is, this is what I've found, and I find it happening less. Now, I'm not Andrew Warshaw. I'm not Ben Wally, okay? They are the masters of bucktail now that Popovich has passed away, unfortunately. Or like Gunnar Brammer, these people. Or Jason Taylor, all right? These are just like master hollow fly tires I'm telling you about. I'm still working on it, and people are like, dude, your fly, whatever. They're fantastic. But like, I'm super hypercritical of my flies. But what I've found, and I've had the exact same issue with what you're talking about when I was first starting to hollow flies, and even 10 years later, because I'm still not a master at it, is the thread will slip. So what I do is I use super glue. So I wrap my thread dam, and then I coat the thread dam in super glue, and then I throw a whip finish. Put a little bit more thread over it, not changing my profile, and then I move forward. I'm telling you, the super glue will definitely help stop in head cement. Can work, but I really find super glue is the best, and I just use cheap super glue from like Amazon, or you can get Zap Gap if you want to use fly tying super glue. But that's what's going on, is your thread is slipping and the hair is now going forward like this, like an umbrella rig. So that was the biggest issue I found. So making sure that the thread won't slip, and I use super glue on the thread wraps. So I'm almost certain that's probably what's going on with you. Because if you're saying that you have the nice, beautiful hollow fly tie when it's in the vise, and then after fishing it, it flares out, I'm telling you. And that just comes with trial and error, dude. That just took me time to figure out. And like I said, I'm still not a master hollow fly tire, but this is one thing that you can learn. This is a good learning observation for all of us, is if you're having an issue with your fly and you're fishing it, you got to start thinking critically, why is that the case? Now we know the bucktail is under pressure and that the thread is holding it down. So if it's flaring outwards, more than likely it's something to do with the thing that's causing it to keep its profile, and something changed. So and I'm going to tell you right now, it took me 10 years to probably figure that out. All right. So I'm not acting like I'm a genius. I'd be like, why are my hollow flies opening up? They look terrible. Because like one or two ties would do it on the top or bottom, and I couldn't tell you. And I still am not fully comfortable with having perfectly even hollow ties, so where it's perfectly, I still underestimate that you want to flare it out. I'm still not fully comfortable, and I think I tie beautiful hollow flies, but I will always shout out Andrew Warsaw, Andrew's Custom Flies on Instagram. I talked to him recently. I don't know if he's still going to be fly tying a bunch, but in my opinion, just his Instagram is like an archive of the greatest hollow flies of all time. I'll say it. I've known Andrew for a while. I have never met him personally, but we've talked, and he's been doing this for a while. And I remember when he came around and I first saw his flies, I was like, dude. I use him as a gauge for other people's hollow flies. I met this dude, Predator Prey Flies. He's on Long Island. He's going to probably come out and fish on stream one day. He's an awesome dude. And I was like, you got Andrew Warshaw flies over here. And he's like, whoa. I'm like, yeah, you better react like that. Because that's like, in my opinion, him and Ben Wally, Jason Taylor, they're like, and like Gunner as well. But, Gunner lives out in the Midwest. These are like striper guys. Like Ben Wally guides for stripers. Jason and Andrew, I think Jason's a Jersey dude as well. Andrew's Jersey. They're like hardcore striper dudes. So, I don't know. They're, in my opinion, the people. But yeah, we'll make a video on bucktail hollowfly. I'm almost nervous to do it. Like why? Like you should go watch Ben Wally, you know. But we'll cover it. We'll cover it. That's your classic imposter syndrome. But yeah. I love hollowflies. I remember when the article first came out. It was back in like the year 2003 or something. I forget when it was. It was Fly Fishing Saltwater magazine, and I went to Turkey because my father's Turkish. We went on a trip, and what do you call it? I brought bucktail. I didn't have like hollow bucktail, and like when you bought a bucktail, nobody thought about whether it was soft enough to hollow tie back then, So I didn't have like hollow tie bucktail. I just had regular bucktail, and my flies were like bulkheads back then because they were like so stiff, the bucktail. And I was like, how do you even do this? I remember I thought it was like wizardry. So when that first came out, dude, that was like, whoo. It's one of the reasons why Popovic's considered such a legend. I mean, when the surf candy came out, me and Mark were talking about it. People were like, oh my God. They thought it like changed the world of striper fishing, let alone something like the hollowfly, which completely was like now everybody, they're like getting out their Jerkins lotion to hollowflies nowadays, but rightfully so. But yeah, it's pretty interesting how all this came to be. But yeah, hopefully that helps. There you go. I'll make a video on it at some point. But we got a Discord. I think the link's in the description down below. You can always join that. If you ever have any questions, hit me up there if I'm not streaming, because we only stream once a week. And also on Instagram. Because people are always asking me things and like, yo, can you film this? Can you do that? Because now I'm like super active on these platforms. So feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. Any questions about fly tying and all that. Dropping knowledge. Every once in a while something good comes out of this, trap. You know what I'm talking about? Not complete nonsense. Did we talk about aliens yet today? I think it's time. Let me check the docket. Yep. What's going on, Fearmonger? How you doing? Yeah, by the way, I probably would have had 10, all 10 of these done by now, but you put me in front of a microphone and I start chatting it up. Don't get it mistaken. If you try to sabotage my fly tying business, get me to stream more because I will be less productive. What can I say, Like if we're driving somewhere to work in the morning and there's a long commute, I might talk your ear off about bucktail for 30 minutes. My boss is probably like, oh, God. Like, yeah, so YouTube's really interesting when it comes to thumbnails and God damn it, shut up back there. Oh, dude, the hookah lounge is always flowing. Yeah, we got Jerry. He's got empanadas. We got chips, salsa. We got it all. We got it all. I might change my room around some. I might have to put up a green screen. I mean, we might need to get some cameras for the hookah lounge and the bar and stuff, but we used to have the elevator camera with the elevator and the different floors of the Li Flies Mike Club. VIP access for tier 3 subs and YouTube members. Now, Jerry's the man, that's right. Best empanadas on Long Island. I use that as my Steam gamer tag for when I play games. So I'm like playing first person shooters and they're like, I hate this Jerry Empanadas guy. This guy sucks. Yo, Jerry's Empanadas, you suck. And it makes me laugh every single time. People are like, yo, Jerry, what's up, dude? What's up, Jerry? Like people like in Daisy and stuff. Yo, Jerry's Empanadas. Yo, what's up, dude? So you make empanadas? I'm like, yeah. I'm spreading the Jerry's empanada. I like you folks on YouTube. You're like, what the hell? This is what happens when you stream on Twitch for 5 years. You start coming up with fictional characters for you to yell at off screen. I mean, real people. I start yelling at Jerry in the background every time the stream loses connection. God damn it, Jerry! Get on the phone with Optimum. Start yelling at him. Have you played your music video today? No, that's only on Halloween. And at special occasions. If I'm really having fun. But yeah, the Halloween Little Peacock battle? Mm-mm. That's only on special occasions. What do you think? I'm playing that every day? You guys never know. Is he going to play it? The masterpiece of musical artwork that I made for Halloween in 20-something? Yeah. Nope. I don't know. You're just going to have to, like, watch on the edge of your seat. I just love the idea of, like, somebody new watching me on YouTube having no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, well, he's a really good fly tyer, and I watch him for that. I mean, most of the time, I don't know what he's talking about, but that's okay. I kind of have... I turn the volume down anyway, so... I use my TNT Horizon for stripers. Nice. Like I said, every time I casted my buddy's TNT, it was great. He just ended up breaking them all the time. And it's not their fault. He just broke them all the time on, like, bluefish. I'm like... Jeff, you got to stop breaking these $700 rods on 2-pound bluefish, please. Because they, like, run off at the last second. Your rod's sitting down. You were trying to grab it, and it's just, like, the worst thing that could happen at the wrong time, you know? So when we get near the end, he does something a little different. Now, like, how many ties did I put on here? Yeah, probably wasn't much. He does things a little different. He, like, does a hollow tie at the end. So, I think we'll do that. We have room for one more tie. We'll do it. I won't go too heavy on this particular tie. But, yeah, Johnny King does, like, a little hollow tie. Popovic's hollow tie, essentially, on the last one. I think he does wrap on top. Almost like a high-low. I could be wrong. And I might do that anyway, just so I don't have the material act weird on me at some point. We got some shorty material, right? Yeah. Let me get some of the short stuff. I don't want to waste the lawn here. Yeah. If we're going to do one more, I don't want to add too much. Just go a little bit. V-tie. Yeah, we got room for one more here. V-tie. V-tie. And the whole reason we V-tie is for a 3D profile. As Johnny Keynes explains, instead of a high-low tie, which is the sort of thing that Mark Sedati did a lot back in the day with bucktail. Which I made my slammer video. People are like, this isn't a slammer. I'm like, it was when he was tying bucktail ones back in the 90s. There are many different ways to tie a slammer. Work in downtown Miami, eat Cuban empanadas almost daily. I love empanadas. I don't know why we decided that Jerry made empanadas. I couldn't tell you. I don't think I've eaten an empanada in 10 years. But, you're signing off. Hey, Jen, thanks again for watching, man. And thanks for tuning in and checking out the new video and all that. Appreciate it, brother. And congratulations on selling the BMW. That's awesome, dude. So, have a good night. We'll see you. I'm going to cut this a little shorter. Yeah, whatever. All right. I think we're hollow tying here on the last one, essentially. I might still V-tie it, but just do more like a hollow V. I don't know. Because if we just hollow tie it like this, essentially, or like a high-low. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to question it. The man's a legend, Johnny Keynes. I think I understand. I think I got it. I get a little apprehensive at times doing stuff like this without, you know, tying it for someone else and not necessarily have tied it like this, but I think I understand what we got to do here. So we're not V-tying this. I think we want, I mean, we're going to be trimming it. You do take a considerable amount of material off. If you want to put all this in a bag and keep it, that works. So are we just building a thread dam, I suppose? Because this isn't V-tied. Because that's on top. That's not a hollow tie. That's more like a high-low. If we try an actual hollow tie. Let's try it. I can always go back. See, I think you put the thread on there, no? I guess we just build a thread dam without trying to put thread on the material. Yeah, kind of something like this. Spread it around so we don't have any exposed thread. Even though we are going to be putting our eyes exactly right there. Okay. I'm going to just build that up ever so slightly. We do want a secure head. Why is this out of focus? Darn it. Sorry about that. There we go. That's one of the reasons why I try not to rely on autofocus too much, but I'm doing a lot of like different things here. I try to check it all the time too, but when I first started fly tying, I used to I would do half the stream out of focus sometimes. I'm like, chat, please tell me. Please. But now it's not too bad. I'm pretty good at like taking a look all the time at it. All right, we're going to brush this out. Have an easier time trimming this. Now we do have our other material covered up back there. So this is the trick. One thing I've learned. One thing I do with the kinky muddler that is down to a T that Johnny Keynes does. So at least I do that 100% the exact way he does. And I learned this from him, which is pretty cool, is that you use your hand or thumb to create the shape. So essentially you see like I can hold the fly like this, and my thumb here is giving me a guide to use my scissors. So we're not going to go down, but we're going to picture my thumb is this wide, and it goes all the way up. And this is giving us the, almost like a template, right? And all you do is kind of take your scissors and you just angle it outwards and you start trimming. And now that's kind of like what we're going for when it comes to the kinky mother. Maybe a little bit higher, more like, so angle my scissors and come at the right angle, like that. And same thing for down here. And I can adjust, need be. And I'm just going to let this stuff make a mess, because whatever, I'll have to vacuum after the stream. So that gives us a pretty good basic shape that we're working with here, you could see. Right? Now you can kind of go three-dimensional and get less of a blocky appearance like this. Now we have an even more natural appearance. And all we're going to do is just work our way back. Just working this material. We want the nice lawn hairs at the end, so we create a taper in between the materials. And I'm probably going to take this off right now, just so that was kind of while we were working with it. Now you can see kind of what we're dealing with here. Now we don't want too much material because it won't track properly. So we want to trim it down. Let me get this out of the way. So again, we could use the thumb to kind of guide ourselves like this. Don't cut the hook with your scissors. I was trained not to do that by some old guys at the fly fishing club we were a part of. I had a friend, his name was Joe. Shout out Joe. I don't know where the hell he is. I haven't talked to him in years. And I got him addicted to fly tying with me, and he never had scissors. He didn't have fly tying scissors. Always forgot his scissors. And so one of the nice guys there, Dan, I'm not going to say his last name, but very nice guy, would let him use his scissors and very nice fly tines, expensive ones. And a couple times he cut the hook shank with the tips of the scissors and dulled him out, and he got reamed out. He's like, what are you doing? Yeah, it's pretty easy to do that when it's not your scissors, right? And he was but we didn't know. So he like taught us essentially, like, you're ruining these very expensive scissors by cutting the hook. Now I use hardware store scissors, Fiskars, $15. Get about 5,000, 8,000 flies on them. Drop them on a concrete floor. They're all right. So this is different. But if you do use nice scissors, don't cut the hook shank, because you'll dull it down significantly. So now what we do is we kind of just thin it out. We kind of go around, even it out. And we want to start taking material off the sides ever so slightly, because there's too much material here for it to track properly. But we still want to leave that transitional material of EP fiber in between the bucktail, so you can see how it's long. But we'll go through and we'll kind of just get some of this out of here. It's a little too much. Thin it out. You're going to have to play it by ear when you tie these. I'm going to brush this back section out. So I can get a better idea of what we're working with here. That's not bad, to be honest with you, because it's going to taper down like this, right? We do need to take a little bit more off this way. I'm going to put the eyes on here soon, because that'll change the head slightly too. So we kind of just take a look now and take some off the edges so we get that shape that we're looking for, and take some of the bulk off the side so that it tracks and swims properly. It's kind of the whole idea. Oh, it's going to be fun trimming 300 of these, the heads. Oh, that'll be fun. That's looking pretty good right there, because we got to glue the head on. I like that. Big 4-aught hook. You still want a large enough head as well to where it's going to push the water, right? So let's glue our head on, or our eyes, and then I'll do the final trim. That's perfect, though. You do want a large enough head. We don't really need to worry about this killing perfectly, or we don't need to worry about too much, because the hook is so dang large and heavy. It's a 4-aught Gamakatsu SL12S. You can catch a giant trevally on this. Literally, we tie giant trevally flies on these, and people go catch 50, 60-pound giant trevallies on these. So it's a heavy hook. You can catch tuna. I've caught sharks on these hooks in 10-aught, 8-aught, stuff like that. CP, what's up? What kind of fish would you catch with these? We're tying these specifically for people that are going down to Baja, Mexico, and targeting rooster fish. But this particular fly, you could catch striped bass, largemouth, smallmouth, muskie, pike. You just change it up to see how you see fit. It's kind of like a deceiver almost, you know? It's very universal in that way. But this fly specifically, we're tying for people that are going to Baja and targeting rooster fish. Okay, let's put some eyes on here. Where are my nice eyes? Here we go. Bought these specifically for this order. My back's getting a little jacked up, I tell you. Just give me one sec. Looks like I'm not working tomorrow, so I might play some Warhammer. Got a lot of work to do as well for YouTube. And the new video, not bad, 130 views. Okay, you know what? We'll take it in the first 3 hours. That's not bad. Appreciate everyone that's checked it out. If not, after the stream, check out the new YouTube video, Fly Fishing for Striped Bass, The Philosophy Behind Choosing the Right Fly, Episode 1. First episode in the series. Okay, not too shabby. I'll take it. Whoa, we got Rev in the house. 10 months with the membership. Give it up. What the hell, Jerry? See, this is why we have Jerry. Jerry, why are you cutting off the... Can I get the audio from the bar again, please? Thank you. Round of applause for Rev. 10 months. Give it up. Appreciate it, brother. I think Garrett's down, so as long as... I'm telling you right now, it's 9:30. I don't have somebody text me and be like, hey, we're working in 10 minutes, so we're going to be... I think we're playing Warhammer tomorrow. So, Emperor's Children, get ready. Put our eyes on here. I'm just going to sit that like that for now, and we'll press it down in a sec. Been here the whole time lurking? Oh, I know you have. Oh, I know it. I didn't know that, but cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. The legendary Rev. Which his name is derived from Rev It Up and Dump It. Now, I'm always curious about this because I actually worked at a job as a mechanic, and I'm like, yeah, dude, rev it up and dump it. Ew. And they're like, oh, no, there was that. But what's the other thing? Oh, romp or stomp. Has anybody in here that likes cars or things like that? And I don't even know if we ever talked about this, Rev, but I was working at a Midas, which was not my peak mechanic resume, but nothing wrong with a Midas, but you know, this one in particular wasn't like maybe the nicest one. I was like, okay. It was like I went from working in like super high end shops to the Midas, but it was still nice. They were nice there. But I was like, yo, yeah, romper stomp it, dude. Let's romper. And they're like, what the hell's romper stomp? I'm like, you've never heard the term romper stomp? Like, if we're going out in a truck in the woods, all right, camel legs. I know you ride dirt bikes. Have you ever heard the term romper stomp? Like, yeah, romper stomp it. Woo! And you're like, going up like a hill. Has anyone ever heard that term, or am I crazy? Because they were convinced I made it up. We actually looked it up. It was the name of a movie about a car. It was like these teenagers like racing in the 50s or 40s or something. It was called Romper Stomper. You've absolutely heard that term? Okay, good. Because I was with like 5 mechanics and car guys that were like, we've never heard Romper Stomper. You just made that. I'm like, what? I'm like, I feel like I've grown up and heard people go like, yeah, romper stomp it. And like some redneck dude, or like, you know, it'd be like my buddy's dad, you know, these like country dudes to the max. They're like driving trucks on ice in the winter, like, woo, like drunk driving with kids in the car. Like, yeah, romper stomp it. You know, like, and we're like, wow, this is fun, you know? And meanwhile, my dad was like, you know, he was drunk the whole time. He was driving you guys around. I'm like, what? That was the 90s. I'm like, what do you mean? Why are you telling me that now? Oh, God. Good times, though. You know, that was what it was about, to be alive in the 90s, you know? By the way, I do not condone drug driving, okay? That's a good way to get yourself killed. But, you know, when you're romper stomping, what are you going to do? Okay, I'm glad somebody else heard that term, and I'm not crazy. You know that you are a redneck if you go romper stomping while you're drunk on Bud Light with a couple kids in the car. That's just classic fucking East End Long Island, like the country boys on Long Island driving like diesel trucks, like shooting like soot, what do you call it, the soot out the side, like onto people on sidewalks. Those are like half my buddies that I grew up with. Imagine drinking light beer. Well, we got a hot shot. I say this, you know, I don't drink light beer. I'm with you on that, on the light beer hate train. I don't drink a lot of beer in general, but I drink stouts, you know. Hot shot over here, but I gotta say though, man, like, there's got to be something said to be that's like just growing up on good old country life. You know what I mean? We were pretty suburb here. But, you know, it's got to probably be something said like growing up on a farm or something that just like, it's a good upbringing for a kid. Have him fall off a tractor, lose an arm at a young age, learn about work ethics, you know. All right, I'm losing my mind. We've been streaming for 3.5 hours. I'm getting delusional. I'm getting hungry too. This looks pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. What's the worst car I worked on at Midas? Oh, I don't know. I could tell you the worst cars I ever worked on were, if you break the spark plugs in the old Ford Triton motors, those really sucked. I had to they would just constantly break. They would just seize in I forgot what they were, the 5 something or the 6 something Triton motors in Fords. Those were terrible. Just because what a terrible design. Other than that, like BMWs and like stuff like that, or like Volvos. There's some European cars that are so over-engineered that to do something as simple as change a sensor, you have to drop like so much stuff off. Or yeah, it was the 5.7, I think, the Triton motor. I forgot what it is. You'd be like, you're going to do a spark plug change on those? Looks great. Oh, thank you, Jake Finn. I've never drank. Oh, you drink Everclear? Okay, paint remover? You put like PB Black or not? We put some sort of anti-lock, not anti-lock, but some sort of unseizing spray. I forgot. We used to have special sprays into the cylinder, and then you slowly would like just start easing the spark plug. But I mean, it would just at some point, and you just break the spark plug off in the head. Have to drill it, tap it, and man, yeah, that wasn't fun. It was a 5.4. There you go. I think there were a couple sizes of the Tritons, but yeah, there was that. I mean, just some stuff like, and a lot of this stuff isn't bad, but I will say, like, compared to like a Honda brake job, yeah, some of this stuff is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, no, thank you. Or just some alignments. I would do alignments, and it would just be some of these cars are just like we're not fun to work on. Well, whenever I take my hands off the wheels for 30 minutes, the car slightly veers to the left. So can you fix it again? I'm like, lady, the road is curved. Like, look, if you ride in the center of the road, it doesn't move, right? Yeah, because we're driving on the crown of the road. Our roads are curved because it rains and the water drains off to the sides. That is why the car is veering. It's perfectly straight. I don't know about that. Can we let's go for another road test? And I'm like, oh my God. And that's why I stopped. They were like, Mike, you're the only one that doesn't yell back at the customer. Can you go take a road test with this lady? She thinks she hears a penny somewhere loose in the car. So maybe if you could drive around for a while and not get paid, that'd be cool. Because you're the only one that seems to be rational. Like, the best one was I had to diagnose why a car would make this noise. It turned out to be when you had the rear windows open on a newer Buick or something like SUV, like one of these crossovers, it would make a wah, 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 wah because of the design of the aerodynamics. If you just had the windows, both rear windows cracked open in a foot, it would make this like airplane, like it was, imagine if like a door was open in an airplane, it was whoosh, 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 making this crazy noise. And we're trying to figure out what is the wheels falling off? Is it wheel bearings? And no, it just turned out if you had the windows open on the rear just a little bit. And I had to tell her, I'm like, look, you got to get some like valances, or like they make those things for your window so rain doesn't come in, because Buick or whoever designed this car didn't open the rear windows and drive it at 45 miles an hour. So I'm sorry about that. I'm sure you're still paying the car off, but you just can't drive with the rear windows open. Otherwise you'll go deaf or something. So congratulations on your new car, and nothing's wrong with it. And it's going to be $200 for the diagnosis. Now, we never charge for that.
42.
But. Yo, Frosty, give it up. Round of applause with the 42 months, my friend. Appreciate it. It is a 5.4. You have one in your F-150. There you go. Just don't change the plugs before they get seized. All right, that's all I got to say. There we go. Johnny King's Muddler, 3.5 hours. We got 10 tails done. 1 fly finished, a Guinness and a White Claw as well, and probably about 35 different topics covered. So congratulations, chat. Give yourself a round of applause. Being so fantastic. I appreciate it, and for hanging out tonight. If you haven't, check out the new video, Fly Fishing for Striped Bass, the first episode in a long series, Fly Fishing for Striped Bass. Philosophy behind choosing the right fly and the fundamentals of, it's like God's work trying to get inside the mind of a dog. All right, I like to think of me as a fly fisher, like similar to like a dog. You're trying to get inside the mind of a fly fisher and figure out where we start. Right. That was a terrible attempt at "It's Always Sunny" joke, but that's one of my favorite "It's Always Sunny" quotes. Is Cricket uh, when he's like homeless and he's completely delusional, and they're talking, and he's like eating lemons, and he's talking about how he had an open wound in his neck, and a dog was looking at him, aroused as he was sleeping in the streets, and he's like, "You can't get inside the mind of a dog. That's God's work." And he used to be like a reverend or like a minister, but they ruined his life, and now he's like addicted to drugs and living on the street, talking about this dog situation. So that was my attempt. I'm delusional. I've been streaming for 3.5 hours, so I appreciate chat. You have an awesome night, and check out the new video. All right. We have a silly leg bonefish video fully uploaded for members is coming out on Sunday. Monday is a video looking inside of a commercial fly tires fly box. Really, it was just me opening my fly box and talking about some cool flies. Great idea from Joe F. Thank you, Joe, if you end up seeing this. I wish he tuned in because I was going to gift him a sub or a membership because he's been trying to join as a member forever. So one of these days, hopefully Joe tunes in. I'll gift him a membership. But we have Catherwood's Giant Killer. We have the giveaway video next week, which is a peanut bunker flatwing bucktail deceiver. And then we have the Clouser Minnow on Sunday. And then the first video of April, which will be Monday. I'm just telling you because why not? It's the end of the stream. We have the Whistler by Dan Blanton. So those are all the videos that are coming out on YouTube. We have a ton of stuff. Some of those are edited and fully uploaded for members just a couple days early. And then a lot of them I have to work on. But thank you so much. Appreciate it. You folks are awesome. And we'll see you soon. CP10H, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you tuning in. Maybe we'll see you around. And Frosty, thank you again, brother. We'll have to play some games here soon and whatnot. But I'll see you guys. You have an awesome night. You take it easy. Peace.